As y'all can tell, I'm slightly underprepared. I still got the do rag on and shit. But welcome to Sauce Sports. You know what I'm saying? While we get this all look, man, look. I'm unprepared like the goddamn Texans. You know what I'm saying? Shit, showing up, but I ain't pulling up. So anyway, it is what it is, man. Welcome to Sauce Sports. You ain't familiar with Sauce Sports? You know, this is a say Houston, Texas Homer Network, not Houston Texans, Houston, Texas. So we got to get back to what the sauce is all about, man. I'm gonna be honest. We'll talk about the Texans if we can find some time somewhere to talk about the Texans today, because man, we've been neglecting all of the winning associations in this fucking city, teams that are actually competing and doing stuff. So we're gonna get the sauce back to what the sauce originally was. But here's the deal. Welcome to Sauce Sports. If you're not familiar, Sauce Sports is a Houston, Texas Homer Network. So I mean, we're talking all sports, only Houston. With that being said, man, who we got joining us this evening in the round table?
You got your boy Third Coast Sports TV in the building.
And you got your boy Waz with Waz Citizen Sports.
Already. And, before we get to talking about what's going on around town, before we get to talking about the winning teams, we got to talk about the ultimate winning team. And if you don't know who that is Sauce Nation. That is you, Sauce Nation. So first we're going to show y'all a little bit of love. And y'all know what that means. That means we're going to get into the Sauce Nation roll call. And so that is, if you are from the greater Houston area, shout out your side with pride, represent. But if you're not from, the greater Houston area, it's all good because we still got love for you. If you represent that Sauce Nation, if you got love for Houston teams or whatever it may be, let us know. We'll send a little bit of that digital love and we will get right with you. So let's see who we got joining us in the chat today. We're going to show some love. And then, like I say, we're going to get on the topics at hand, what's going on around the city. And while y'all getting while you getting your name drops in and all that, you're probably wondering, well, what happened? Why aren't you? Man, look, we didn't dedicate entirely too much time to the Texans for them to be in the position they're in. Because, the Sauce Sports originally started out talking about everything that was going on around town. It wasn't really just dedicated to the Texans. It was primarily Texans and Rockets, And we would dabble a little bit in the Stros. We would dabble very little on the Dynamo. But, make sure when we get Hector back, we'll make sure we get run down about the Open Cup and things like that. But, it's just time to get back to that because there's no reason to dedicate every evening an entire stream to the Houston Texans. And, again, we it's a lot of the same conversation, especially when they're not winning. It gets frustrating. And like I said, I know the flavor last couple of times ain't been all that great. It's been depressing, and when you're talking about losing ass teams, you go fucking get depressed, especially when you put your heart and your energy into the shit, and they're not coming, they're not successful. It's a very big letdown. But like I said, let's get into it. Let's see who we got in the mix joining us this evening, who is saucing up the chat with us tonight. I see y'all thriving. We've got Guys of Juice, Wise Citizens, not only holding down the round table, we holding down the chat too. Miss Voodoo C, one half of the greatest moderating couple in all the world. B. Shelf, what's the motherfucking deal? Joshua, Voodoo Child, the other half, not the better half, but the other half of the greatest moderating couple in the world. J-Pack, Austin Tucker, Elias De La Concha, Berkeley Boss, Footballer 503, Mr. Killer KB. Let's see, Debo, what's the motherfucking deal? White Persuasion, what's the motherfucking deal? Naveed Muhammad, what's happening? Ray Moore. Hector Flores. Yes, man, Hector, look, you're supposed to be representing for the Dynamo in the round. D. Will, what's the motherfucking deal? Titans up. Cavity Creep. Let's see. Make sure I ain't missing nobody here. Josh M., what's the motherfucking deal? Your boy Anthony. Let's see. Poppy Salsa. Joshua BMT representing. Katie beat us and I got ejected before halftime, 33-0. Boy, you got bad sportsmanship, boy. That's your problem. Should have took your ass a nap last night. You probably on the field cranky. You probably was getting manhandled out there, looking like Rankin or Davenport out there jumping off sides and shit. You know what I'm saying? Look, Kenneth, you out there simping on the football. How you do? I didn't know that was possible. What happened? I know why you got ejected, because you ran into the stands. You saw somebody trip, spill some of their popcorn. You was like, oh, a female in distress. Let me go save her. Fuck this football game. So you ran off the field. Ran in the stand, they ejected your ass. They thought you was fighting with the goddamn fans. Ain't that a bitch? Houston Beerhead, what's the motherfucking deal? Say watching the Vikings and Rams tonight. Is the Vikings game, are the Vikings as interesting after that, taking that L? That makes you wonder, is the Texans just that goddamn bad? But anyway, here's the deal, man. Let's get into some conversation. And again, like I said, if we can find some time to talk about the Texans, then we'll address the Texans. But there's other more interesting, more important things happening in this city that could be a bit more worthwhile. So we're going to talk a little bit. First, I want to kind of briefly say, we haven't given the Astros much love. They've gone back-to-back seasons getting 100 wins, which is extremely credible. We might go back-to-back seasons with maybe 4 wins. Maybe. We'll see. Hopefully. I mean, because right now it's not looking like we're going to do too much of anything, man. So, again, let's see. Hold on un segundo. Oh, hold on. Did I just see some kind of breaking news pop up? Give me 1 second. Let me see. Okay, hold on. Okay, we're going to talk about some things. I wasn't sure what I was seeing there. I had to lean to make sure my visuals was working correctly. But I just want to say shout out to the Astros again. They have been holding it down 2 seasons in a row. Hopefully can get back to the big game or to the big series. And, make the city proud, because right now I think this city is in a slump. We're in a state of depression. And what I want to talk about is one of these things is different. That was the title of the thumbnail. Every other team in this city, as far as major league teams, has thrived. I mean, if you want to talk about the year 2018, earlier this year, the Rockets were in the Western Conference Finals. Talk about the Stros. They are the previous champions. You're talking about the Dynamo just won the Open Cup. And the Open Cup ain't the MLS Cup, but it's a championship. You know what I mean? The Texans have been being defeated the entire year. And this is not to hate on the Texans. I still love the Texans, but I cannot dedicate that energy when they are not producing. We'll start with Wise, then we'll get Wink's thoughts, man. Wise, what needs to be done to address the situation with the Texans? Like, what do the fans need to do to correct, to get the attention of the ownership with the Texans? I mean, because if you look at these other teams, the Rockets are having conversations about still trying to be aggressive and trade for Jimmy Butler after they've just made a few moves. The Astros went out and they got the Osuna kid, took a gamble on him. What happens? Charges get dropped or they end up not being whatever it is, upheld or whatever it was. So they won that gamble. The Dynamo, I don't know what major gambles they took, but I think they had a guy who was a woman beater. I'm not gonna say that's the lick to take. I'm not saying let's go get a bunch of woman beaters, but hey, maybe one is necessary. Who knows? Okay, that might be the formula. I'm joking, y'all. Don't get all upset and start calling me all kind of crazy shit. Hashtagging me too. But these teams are taking risks. They're going out and getting guys. Why? What does the Texans need to do, man? I mean, like, what? How do we get this message to the ownership? What do they need to do as a team? Like, what needs to happen for the Texans to get on the right track? I mean, your thoughts on that?
I mean, people just got to stop showing up. When I see the Texans posting material on Instagram, when I see them posting stuff on Facebook and Twitter and things like that, I see people saying, oh, the Texans got this. We still love the Texans. The Texans still one of the best teams. Stop being unrealistic, man. This shit is terrible. This is a disgrace. They shouldn't even put the city of Houston name in front of that Texans. It's making the city look bad, and it's a shame that you got people that's okay with that. But like in life, it's some people that's bosses, and there's some people that's just simps. Some people just can't separate themselves from normality, and they get stuck in emotion. I mean, they just can't create that gap to move on to the next level in life. So obviously, the Texans is just like national media and advertising and things like that. They basically how would I put this? Damn, I can't think right now. Damn.
Don't you hate when you're on a good ass point?
Yeah,
that's what happens when you think about the damn Texans. They just made you.
Bro.
They just you go and you're getting a slump just like the Texans when you start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
I mean, they training your brain just to accept the mediocrity that this franchise has been given, and it's gonna keep being that way if people is okay with it. And I'm tired of seeing people being okay with it, man. I'm tired of people still like it's some dude that commented on my video talking about the Texans gonna blow out the Colts 32-10. Right now, I can't never say the Texans gonna blow out a team 32-10. Not the way they've been looking. I don't even know if they're gonna win against these Colts, and I already predicted them not to win against these Colts. So, I mean, I don't understand how people saying this. They gotta start showing up. Stop showing up to the game. Stop showing up to the tailgating. Just stop showing up to the Houston Texans facility. Maybe if they cut that attendance down to like 30,000, maybe that'll start opening up. What's this guy's name? McNair's eyes. So, I mean, it's unacceptable that we got 75,000 people still showing up to Texans game when this team haven't even won a game yet. That's a damn shame. But they can't show up for the Rockets when the Rockets is winning. They can't show up for the Astros when the Astros won the World Series last year. They can't show up for the Dynamo. I seen the Dynamo game last night. They was in a title game and the stadium was empty. That's a damn shame. Like I said, if you're gonna accept that mediocrity in your life, then that's what you're gonna get.
No, that's unfortunate. That's one of the things that definitely bothers me. You have these teams that are actually winning, that are actually doing something. They get no love. And I understand, football is king in Texas. I know NFL is king when it comes to sports, but I thought that winning was the best thing. And you got teams. And again, once the Astros won it all, you start seeing people jump all out the woodworks and jump on that Astros bandwagon. That's why I say I kind of refrain from it because, I have to admit I hadn't been paying attention. I wasn't paying attention to the games all season. I didn't really catch too many games this season. But, I definitely will root for them. I will speak on their news, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the biggest Astros fan out there. Hey, I might just have learned a little bit about the pitching rotation. Some of the other guys, hey, I still got a little ways to go. So I'm not going to play that role. But when winning happens, people will come running up. Then, oh yeah, I've been an Astros fan for Rockets. Yeah, I'm fucking with the Rockets and all this other stuff. But then it'd be the same ones who wasn't fucking with it. Especially like I saw with the Rockets, wasn't fucking with the Rockets all year long. They wait till the Western Conference Finals. They end up, getting a little bit of the shaft. They end up beating themselves a little bit. It was a combination of both. Then those will be the first ones that turn around and talk the most shit about the fucking Rockets. That shit blows my mind. But that's what I say. Is it? Here's my question for you, Wink. Is it the fan base in this city when it just comes to sports, or is it that we accept mediocrity? Is it the bandwagon shit? Like, what is the worst aspect of fandom in this city of Houston? Like the over loyalty to the Texans and the kind of dismissiveness to the other teams, or the fickleness? I mean, what is it? What is it in your opinion?
Man, it's a combination of things, man, especially for people who born and raised and depending on where you're from, grew up in the city, and to be part of, things, that are part of the culture of Houston. Like, you want a team to represent the way that we represent in the streets of Houston. The shit that you see, the culture. We want to bring that. We lay back, but don't get it twisted. You'll get your motherfucking head busted out here. Don't get it ever mistaken. Like, don't think we're friendly out here. You get your ass busted. And the team doesn't reflect, like, how shit really can be when it boils down to when you have to be a certain way. And it's just like, man, I don't understand why this team and this organization doesn't get it. I mean, I know these dudes work hard. I know these dudes, but it's just like the preparation. It's either they just don't want to play for old dude, which is a bad sign, or it's just like, bro, dudes on the team, no dudes is trash and they playing out of position and they ain't bringing nobody on and they wasting talent. And that sends another message, and players are talking, and they gonna talk to other people because the other people gonna be asking me like, "Man, what the fuck, bro? Y'all supposed to be winning. What's going on over there? People in the league hitting boys up on the Texans, bro. What the fuck is going on over there, bro?" Like, man, you know how it is. You know how, because football players know what they know what it is without even having to open their mouth. Yeah, all right. That issue, okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, man, it's just the way that these dudes move, and you can tell that the way that the teams operate, and they see that they're not doing everything they can to back up, but you got to hear about them having top 5 cap space. What good does it serve you in a year that you don't, where cap space is not even going to be a matter for you or not? Like, you're still going to have $65 million next year. They're still going to be one of the top franchises, in terms of cap space next year. And you ain't doing nothing this year to be reflective of what you could potentially land next year in the draft or in free agency. Like, in order for free agency for the next year prior to look good, the year before has to have some semblance of hope. If people see you going to the playoffs on a team like this, to start it like this, a team gonna see, okay, that team got some fight, they can overcome some shit, and hey, they can go in the playoffs, win a game. you know, and we can build off of that. And it just depends on who they bring in, you know, and I could be the right one to set off, you know, a chain reaction and dudes just start signing. A lot of dudes, it depends on where they go and other people follow. It's like they either following the money or they following the legacy. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the two. You can't do both. Not in today's league. I mean, I think a lot of I can't say that, but sometimes it's just reflective in dudes play, and it's just like sometimes this team just makes themselves look soft, and it's been evident for all these years, but you didn't want to believe it. And that's the situation that Houston fans get caught up into. You love this team so much. You love the culture. You love what we represent. You know how resilient we are. We go through all kind of trials and tribulations. We trendy. We got all kind of like people that move from other places. They never go back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you come to Houston, you caught. Like it's only gonna take some food and some entertainment to get you going. You're gonna figure out the rest later. So it's just like when you in that situation, how in the fuck can you have premier football players in a situation that's not only financially feasible and you're going to be saving so much more on the back end because look at where you're playing. You're playing in a place with no state tax and all kind of other factors. And this football team ain't doing nowhere near enough to win. And it's fucking frustrating.
Well, here's my deal. Like I say, you know, for some reason, like I said, this team isn't making the moves that it seems like they want to win. With all the other franchises, all the other fan bases, everyone else around the city is making moves. They're taking risks. They're going out on a limb, but yet there's that undying loyalty because we just love the game of football. I mean, right now, it almost seems like there's better collegiate, there's better high school football in the city of Houston right now than professional football, and that's unfortunate. But like I said, fuck the Texans. We're going to talk about some winning franchises. We're going to talk about teams that are actually in competition for something. We'll talk about the Rockets for a little bit, man. Some very interesting things have come out. Big discussions. And again, this is where we talk about national media and the way that they talk about the city of Houston. You know, it was before Carmelo signed, we've heard all the rumors, he won't do this, he won't do that, he's going to be a cancer, and him and Mike D'Antoni, they got beef and all these things. So funny how all these things that they said wouldn't happen seem to have happened. Mike D'Antoni and Carmelo have sat down. They chopped it up like men should. They had a discussion with each other. They talked about the problem. They talked about what happened in New York. They came to an understanding. They were all good with it. Carmelo won't come off the bench. His ego's too big. He wouldn't do it in OKC. OKC's not Houston. OKC was losing. They were trash. Like, this ain't the same fucking team. We're talking about a team that was in the Western Conference Final, really had the Warriors on the brink. And then you're talking about OKC, who barely made the playoffs almost. They were caught in that little muddle at the end of the season where, you know, it was a couple of games between. And would they end up with a 6 seed with all that talent, supposedly? You know, it's funny how with certain teams, guys, they're going to change the game. With Westbrook and Paul George, Carmelo's going to be a beast. But yet, we're talking about a guy who hogs the ball, who's a stat sheet stuffer, and Russell Westbrook. You're talking about Paul George, who is a baller, but he's a soft personality. So he's just kind of succumbing to what Russell Westbrook wants to do. And then Carmelo, he was going to do his thing. He's like, man, I'm not finna take a backseat to these old bum-ass niggas, man. Like, for what? These niggas they ain't trying to really win. It's Russell over here. These motherfuckers peep game. So he's like, okay, hey, I'm going to go to Houston where shit, they ain't afraid to come off the ball. Okay, they ain't really tripping on sharing the ball that week. They gonna shoot the ball. They want to score. Russell ain't gonna take. I mean, you know, James ain't gonna take 100 shots. You know, Chris don't get his shine. You know, okay, we basically got 2 real units coming off the floor, and so he's not tripping. Where I won't be overused and overexpected to do too much, and I already got paid too anyway by them old bum ass niggas. But anyway, so they chopped it up, and the news is that Carmelo is entertaining a 6-man role. They're talking about starting Gordon. You know, that's if some other things don't happen, which we will talk about here in a minute. But with the roster being as it is, what do you see the benefit being that Carmelo taking that 6-man role? We'll start with Wink, and then we'll jump to Wise. What do you see the benefit of Carmelo accepting that 6-man role for this Houston Rockets team, and what kind of an asset can he be?
Man, this team stays fresh, man. And he can drive. You know what I'm saying? He's good from mid-range. He can shoot long range. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still very athletic. He still got handles. He can still pass. He can still make an impact on the game in the right system. And the fact that, you know, even D'Antoni has grown in terms of his coaching and the way that things is going. And with him having a teammate now, like he's gonna know what it's like to play with Chris Paul, and Chris Paul gonna make sure that you give it your all. So just imagine a Carmelo Anthony at this stage of his career with the knowledge and what he knows of how it takes to win, you know, basketball games, because he's been on abysmal franchises. And now he gets to come to a team, well, regardless of his ladder in his career, that he can still help make an impact that could, you know, very well been the piece that they very well needed. You know, you got that along with Chris Paul staying healthy. Bro, this team, we know where it goes, man. It goes without saying where we are, you know, in the last couple of games. But it is what it is. There ain't no excuses. We can't use that shit this year. Let's just go to that home win and show the bitch, oh yeah, y'all loaded over there, but we loaded over here too. And we finally put y'all to shame. Because you can't strike 3 times and go out like that. I don't think that can happen. You going out 3 times, that really solidifies everything that people think about you in the media, and you don't deserve to be taken seriously. And that's just how fickle the minds are of fans of sports teams.
Man, Wise, you know, the Rockets made some moves again. We talk about, you know, they lost Ariza. They went and they scooped up Ennis. And from all accounts, Ennis has been looking solid in training camp. Running the floor, looking like a younger, fresher defensive guy. And then, you know, he's also been told, hey, we want you to shoot the ball, because he actually isn't bad from 3-point. A lot of people sleeping on Tucker. A lot of people sleeping on a lot of the other assets that we have. But Carmelo, you know, taking and accepting that 6-man role for the most part from everything that's being said, that's the biggest news, because a lot of people thought, oh, he's going to come over here, he's going to want to star because that's who he is. We had a lot of these judgments on his ego, not realizing that the type of personality, like Wink mentioned, that Chris Paul is, knowing that he respects James Harden's game and what he brings to the table. These guys have been hooping together, you know, and I believe it was Tucker and Chris Paul that basically recruited him in pairs while they were, I don't know what kind of fashion shit they had going on. You know, Tucker a pimp, so it is what it is. I ain't going to say nothing about him. You know, it is what it is. But how big of an impact is Carmelo being willing to come off the bench for this Houston Rockets team, man? How big of a deal is that going to be, Wise?
I mean, it's important because this guy, he's accepted the role. When I was watching his interviews the other day, he was talking about how the Thunder with the Thunder, he had an undefined role. He didn't know what he had to do. He was learning stuff on the fly. He was learning if he needed to be a assist man, if he was going to be a starter, if he's going to be a primary scorer. I mean, what kind of man is going to excel in that type of situation? It's very slim for somebody to excel in that type of situation, man. And that's just being truthful. But what I like about Carmelo Anthony is this guy can play the 3 position. This guy can play the 4 position. This guy can play the 5 position, especially with the Houston Rockets, because, you know, we do run small lineups, and that can be deadly. And, you know, that other team over there on the West Coast, the Happy City over there in North California, they over here, they talking about they got a death lineup and things like that. But with Carmelo Anthony, you got a lineup that can basically go against that lineup. Carmelo ain't going to go 0 for 29 on those shots on the Game 7. He going to make at least 1 3. You're talking about one of the greatest offensive minds in the NBA history. This guy can put up points from the 3-point land, and this guy has a great post game. I don't know why people sleep on his post game, but he can work the post. So, I mean, with his knowledge and his experience, I think that's going to help that second unit, especially with Chris Paul running the second unit. And then sometimes you have James Harden running that unit. So every time he's going to be with a primary ball handler, even if it's Chris Paul or James Harden, he ain't going to be playing with some bum-ass dudes like he did in OKC. So I think this guy's still going to put up numbers. I mean, we seen what we did with Eric Gordon's career. Eric Gordon was a guy that was, like, struggling, and guys, you know, if he was capable of being the starter or putting up the same numbers he would be able to as he was when he first came into the league. But when he came to Houston Rockets, guess what happened? Eric Gordon became 6th man of the year. Eric Gordon was runner-up for 6th man last season. This man, Mike D'Antoni, knows how to use his offense, and I believe as long as Carmelo goes in with that mindset that he's one of the best still, he's going to sell on this offense. He's still going to put up the same numbers. He's still going to put up that production because he's going to get a lot of looks, and that ball in the Rockets offense don't stop moving.
And who's to say what his defense is going to end up to be like and how gritty he's going to end up playing this season for us because it's some spots that he's not necessarily in at the end of games that Harden is in. Like Carmelo can close out a game. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like he can hit the big shots, and if you keeping him fresh and he gets to come in, like Robert Horry just said, he's already hot, and he still gets to continue being hot when he comes in. Like that's just gonna help aid games, and it's gonna keep the pressure off for a lot of people, and it's gonna keep them healthy. Because, you know, that's a real benefactor of this team, and we want to make sure that we got everybody we can so we can win this championship this year.
The defense was actually very interesting that you said that because Jeff B, we gonna call him. I can't never say his motherfucking ass. Bizdilic, whatever you want to call it, motherfucking. I don't even know where that originates from. But he was basically the guy that, you know, people gave credit for the Rockets defense being what it is. And so kind of all of a sudden, you know, about a couple of weeks ago, a week or so ago, you know, he called it a wrap. He's like, you know, hey, I'm going to go ahead and retire. And I found that kind of strange for it to be so close. So I'm hoping it's not any kind of health concerns or anything like that because it just seemed like an odd time to call it a wrap. You know, usually guys do that after a season. Sometimes maybe it just took him a little bit of deliberate. Maybe he had to decide. Maybe he had some things going on. You never know, you know. And here's the sauce line. If y'all want to text the sauce line, 832-639-DRIP. That's 3747 if y'all want to text the sauce line. We're not going to take any calls right now until we're going to wait a few before we take any calls. But shout out to Chandler. Chandler says shout out to Honcho, Wink, and Y, so we appreciate that. Always shout out to Chandler holding down the sauce line. But again, so with him being out of there, you know, a lot of people are questioning, what's going to happen with the Rockets defense? What you got to realize, that intensity is not going to drop. A lot of people question what's going to happen after Ariza left. That's what they went out and got Ennis. Ennis is a great on-the-ball defender. I don't know if many people caught. It was a game, I want to say about 2017, so about 2 seasons ago, where he was guarding James Harden, and he made Harden's life miserable. When most players in the NBA say that James Harden is probably the most impossible to defend, he didn't look like he was having any issues with it. They were talking about him today. You know, he's been running baseline to baseline. He's all over the place. Like he's actually been looking great in practice. And then, you know, again, the thing that people like, you know what makes people play better defense? Getting a chance on offense to score buckets. And in this offense, you're going to get a chance to score buckets. So he's going to be asked to take more shots. He's going to be asked to utilize more of his skill set. And I want to say he was like a 36, 37% shooter from three anyway. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with him. And just a quick note, too, on Carmelo. When people aren't accounting, like people are acting like Carmelo's going to be needed to carry a game. Carmelo still was getting about 16, I want to say about 60, average about 16 points a game in OKC. And you go along with what Harden's going to give you, what Chris Paul's going to give you. Let's not forget about Clint Capella, you know. Let's not forget about Eric Gordon. Let's not forget, like, we have scores. This is just another weapon to add to this mix, you know what I mean? And so it's not like all the pressure is going to be on him, but he's just going to be another piece that you're going to have to look out for if you're an opposing defense. So, like, it's not like he's going to be a one-man show out there. People act like it's just going to all be on him, and they discount these other guys. But talking about the defense, and you know, that's one thing. But I kind of want to get into a conversation that a lot of people have been asking about. And there's a hometown guy. You know, as you mentioned Gerald Green. Gerald Green's a hometown guy. But there's another hometown guy that's possibly being made available. This also ties into the fact that we're talking about teams in the city that are actually being aggressive, and the Rockets being one of those teams. Jimmy Butler is essentially available and on the market. Now, the price that the Wolves may be asking for him is a bit high because I heard that they were asking for Ben Simmons straight up for Jimmy Butler, which is not going to happen. But, you know, the Rockets may have a couple of pieces that may be of interest. And I heard that the Rockets are being aggressive and being creative and trying to put together a package for Jimmy Butler, so which is saying they may need a third team to make it happen. But from all accounts, Gordon may be a part of that package. And then, you know, just saw the news that you shared saying that Gordon may not extend his contract through 2020, which is, what about another 2 seasons? So the deal is, I mean, if available, what kind of package, if you were the Rockets, would you be willing to give up, even if it's not an additional player to go along with Gordon? What team would you be trying to look at to make a deal happen if that's the case? Wise, your thoughts on that? I mean, how far would you be willing to go to get Jimmy Butler on this team, essentially?
Before I talk about Jimmy Butler real fast, I'm going to touch on that defense. We do have an assistant coach in Roy Rogers. He came from the Celtics when they had Kevin Garnett, when they had Paul Pierce, when they went in 2008 when they had that one of the best defenses of all time in the NBA. So I wouldn't be too worried about losing Jeff Bisdelic, especially when you have PJ Tucker as the defensive lead, anchor on his team. But talking about Jimmy Butler, this is another guy that can add defense to this team. This is a guy that's a 3-and-D type of player. He's way better than Ariza in his prime. He's a superstar. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, he's going. If you get rid of Eric, if you lose Eric Gordon, you lose in about 18 points. But Jimmy Butler can bring 23, 24 points, especially with you having Carmelo Anthony as the sixth man now. So I wouldn't be too worried about losing Eric Gordon. Maybe I might look at the team in the Clippers or the Phoenix Suns or one of those teams that's not really worried about winning, but they have a lot of assets to trade and move in a trade package. So I'll try to get rid of some of these future first-round picks, maybe a second-round pick, throw in an Eric Gordon. And I heard they've been wanting Zochi in the package. Me, I don't have no feelings towards Zochi. Zochi can be gone. I've seen people crying about Zochi possibly leaving. Who gives a fuck about Zochi? Like, really? What has he done for this franchise yet? Nothing. He hasn't done a damn thing. He hasn't proven himself. He hasn't even touched the court in a valuable minutes. So this is a guy that's tall, lanky, still needs to develop. It's going to take multiple years. But you can bring in a guy and a superstar in Jimmy Butler who has the experience, who has the determination to win. That's why he wants to leave the Timberwolves, because these guys don't have the work ethic to get it done. And this is a key piece about it. He was really close to Tom Thibodeau, which was his head coach in Chicago, and he asked to leave Chicago to go to Minnesota because of his relationship with Tom Thibodeau. And for him to go in that locker room in that franchise and say it was toxic, he don't like how guys don't put in enough effort and work ethic, that's the type of player you want on your team. You want somebody that's going to work harder than everybody else. And this is a guy who can possibly guard a guy in Klay Thompson. He can guard Kevin Durant, who we couldn't stop in the Western Conference Finals. So, I mean, we seen what Eric Gordon can do. We seen he can average 18 points. But when it came to playoffs, Aaron Gordon goes MIA most of the games. Every now and then he showed up. But Jimmy Butler is a more consistent player, and I would like to see the Rockets be aggressive like they can. But knowing Morey, you got to trust in him because he'll figure it out. Unlike some of the other general managers, and only one other general manager in this league, in this city of Houston.
You got somebody co-signing with you on that fuck Zochi. I mean, for real, like I know a lot of people be on that Zochi train, but I've been saying for a while now, Zochi is. Yeah, he looked good with the Asian games. He looked pretty decent in the little offseason summer league. But again, you're talking about that next little tier of talent. We're talking about NBA starters, veterans, and people who matter. And when it comes down to those guys, he's just a step. He's gotten a little bit fast, but he's still a hair slow. And, I mean, he can be an asset, sure, absolutely. But I'm not too worried about Zochi. Because I'm telling y'all sleeping on my boy Isaiah Hartenstein. He's going to come out and he's going to motherfucking prove some people wrong. Because a lot of people ain't been talking about it. I've been talking about it for the last few years now. When they first picked him up and they kind of stashed him for a little bit. I'm telling y'all, watch this kid come out. He's going to make a name for himself. So I wouldn't be opposed to Zochi. I see some folks talking about Gordon. I see White Persuasion saying, let's see what he got. He says, swap a Gordon for Butler, game over. Say it would be a little rough on the logistics, but Eric Gordon's contract and Brandon Knight is about $30 million. Find some more space and we can lock him up long term. And Brandon Knight still has 2 years, which makes it difficult. And Brandon Knight has been in the conversation because I know there's a couple of teams they were saying we're interested in the point guard, so they may be able to finagle some things. So, again, those are some key pieces to look at. Wink, your thoughts, man. What would you be willing, if you're the Rockets, who would you be willing to come off of to try to acquire the services of one Jimmy Butler?
They could just throw some picks away. They could throw some picks away and probably put somebody in like Gerald Green or Zochi. You know, they could do that and keep Gordon, give him a contract, and that could be an option as well. You know, I mean, put the bug in the ear. Sauceline, you heard it here on Soft Sports. You know what I'm saying? That could potentially happen, and then what does that really do for your bench then? If you can have both of those type of players to come off. So when Carmelo does come in, at least he has two other different people who are fresh just like him. They can come in the game and hold their end of the bargain until Harden and them got to play again, and you still going to have situations where he can play. But I can care less who he does a trade with what it goes, just get it done. That's all I care about. At this point in time, who cares until just get it done. No questions asked. Just get it done. And knowing the way that Maury been using, because I mean, for a while it looked like okay, we was questioning like, what the fuck is Maury doing? He moving slow like Brian Game, and he must have heard us and picked that shit right up. They must have forgot who the fuck I was. And he making all kind of moves, been making all kind of some decent, good ass signings. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like this man been doing this much. I don't think he's finna hold back no time soon. So if as long as Jimmy Butler is showing interest, and the fans gonna want it enough, you know what I'm saying? Enough people gonna get in his ear. If you hear or see any tweets where Chris Paul or anybody like that shouting out to him, just expect the man to be signed, bro. Because it's gonna be similar to like how the J.J. Watt did for Honey Badger. Like he just put the bowls of honey up, and we knew what it was right after the fact. I think that's all it's gonna take, man. The players need to get involved. Everybody needs to get involved. Show their interest in how hungry they are to be able to compete with teams like the Warriors, because you're gonna need you need to do everything you can to make this shit a even playing. So why not?
Though, see what I think what will happen with the Wolves, they feel like they're in contention because they felt like they were a playoff team last year, so they're gonna want some answers. If they ask for something like Ben Simmons, they want some number one game changing type players to act. So I think we might take a little bit more than Green, and we probably have to find some people. Like that's what I say. It's gonna take, like I say, with a guy like Gordon that's giving you 18. You're going to have to find a way to get a couple of more points in there, and then you probably throw a pick in there with it. It might be some action, but then you do got to worry about the finances and properly finagling those too. So that's another aspect that you got to look at with
do that all the time. I mean, they hired the guy that made the NBA trade machine, so they gonna figure out how to. I ain't worried about the finances. They gonna figure that out. They always figure it out.
Okay. Somebody saying we'll have to give up Eric Gordon, Zochi, and some picks. I can see that. Like I'm not tripping on I am not tripping on Zochi in the slightest. Like again, it would be cool to see him pan out, but I am not. I'm telling you, the only reason the Rockets really picked up Zochi, honestly, was to keep that Asian fan base happy that's been fucking with the Rockets since Yao Ming. You know what I'm saying? The ones that gave the Chuck Hayes fucking a shoe deal, you know what I'm talking about? Like that's because of that fan base that you have with the Rockets. So you go get Zochi.
Honestly,
love. What's happening?
No, I was gonna say, Honcho. Honestly, if Zochi can't give you what Yao Ming gave you, why the fuck is he here? Like, I mean,
I don't know. That's a different level of expectation.
Could very well be the case.
Yao was highly touted, when he came out. A lot of people already seen Zochi being a project, that it was going to take him a little bit. But the thing about him, I'll give you this, with Zochi compared to Yao, Zochi got more range than Yao. I think as an overall, if I would say just overall game, I think he's more versatile, but he's not as dominant in any particular aspect of his game like Yao was. You know what I'm saying? Yao was more refined in his game. Zochi can do a little bit more. He's got a little bit more range, but as far as just defined, Yao got him hands down. And then, you know what I'm saying, they ain't got that base like Yao. Yao was moving niggas. Yao had them tree trunks, man.
I used to love Yao, but he did get dunked on a lot too. I ain't gonna even lie. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Like,
yeah,
I'll be real with my team. Like,
he did used to get dunked on. He used to get dunked on, bro. Like, you can tell, like, T-Mac, you could tell, like, T-Mac and boys used to make fun of him in practice, that he did everything he could to make sure he got stronger through the years. So they probably used to tell him, bro, why you always on the ground, bro? Like, we'll be putting your ass on the ground. You 7'6", nigga, and I'll be putting you on the ground. And he finally took that, because they don't play aggressive like that in China. You know what I'm saying? So he don't really have to be as physical over there, because that's why he looked so dominant, because he was going against dudes who couldn't even contend with him. Out here, we got the size and the physicality and the agility, etc. We got everything to contend with you, and get hard for you when you get over here. I mean, that along with his health is partially, why he couldn't be as great as he was. But, I wish it would have been different for him, though.
Them damn feet was too damn big.
His feet Rust,
man, I agree, man. Who was that who just said that, man? Trey, man, I agree with you to the fullest, man. Fuck them goddamn Chinese city jerseys. I hate them hoes, though. Them hoes are awful. But that's what I'm telling you. That's why you got to realize it's that dominant aspect. Like, there's so many Asian fans that support the Rockets from that Yao Ming move. That's why they keep somebody Asian in the mix. That's why the Jeremy Lin situation, happened for a little bit. Yeah. Zochi gonna linger for a little bit till they figure out what they're gonna do with him, and then they're gonna go find another one just to say, he's a part of the organization, because they're gonna keep that Asian money coming in.
We gonna always have like an African too.
Yeah, they wouldn't got
like rid throughout the years. We've always. I mean, shit. You got Capella. We have Olajuwon.
Man,
like.
I like the pinstripe. I was never a big fan of the pinstripe. I was not a fan of the blue Rockets. That whole little era. I was not. Big. I've always been with the mayo and mustard. I've always been a fan of the mayo and mustard. I can fuck with the little red and blacks. They cool. But the fucking the stripes, I was never really a big fan. I had a stripe jersey, Olajuwon with the stripes, but I was just never really the biggest. Like, if you were to rank them, the pinstripes will not be at the top of my list. You know what I'm saying?
They second to me. Honestly, bro, it wasn't until I was older and when throwbacks and shit like that really came out, like until a few years ago, like I really like the Clutch City, the original, like Houston Rockets shit, I really, really started loving. Like, I love that shit like way more now. Like, that's my favorite. So when they wear like red and yellow, like the shit that Wise got behind them, like when they wear that, like that shit be live. Like, you know what I'm saying? That jersey is live, and that's really what they need. Yeah, they just really need to wear that. I like the blue jerseys though. The Panther, them hoes clean, bro. That logo alone, that whole clean.
That you see that Astros,
logo clean.
The Astros went back to their old school. They designed their uniforms based off their old school stuff. So
yeah. I really want the Texans to change their uniform.
Texans need to revamp everything. Texans need to just like I said the other night, they need to be like Nintendo, hit the reset button, man. Just start it all over. No battery, no save spot, no nothing. Just start it all over, man.
It's not even that I don't even like the Texas jersey. I'm just ready for a change, bro. Like, okay, we've been had it for 17 years. Like, why we in 17 years we can't change nothing? Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Fix the shit. Fix it.
Should we get Sam Hinkie and Tank for a top draft pick? Simping Ken? Look, you got ejected. I'm ejecting your questions too. God damn. I'm ejecting your call.
But if I was the Phoenix Suns, I would tank just to go get that boy Zion. Whew. That man is unreal.
Yeah, he go definitely change the game when he get in the mix. Let's see. Hold on, we got one shout out to Chandler. But he says, do you think the Rockets can change their jerseys to the ketchup and blue and white jerseys? Oh no, that's too big. That'd be too much going on. That'd be they be looking like the damn Texans.
Hell no.
They'll be looking like the damn Texans. They'll be in for hell. They'll be over with after that. Oh no, like I said, I prefer like the one that Wise got in the back. Like I say, I fucks with that one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I fuck with the throwback. Like that was the right color scheme to me. Like I say, the ketchup and mustard was cool to me. The blue ones, like I say, it's just. They was all right, but they were not my favorite.
What about the white looked better?
Yeah, the white with the stripes were better.
I know. I hated the ones that we got when T-Mac came here. The white and red. I hate that. Bro. I hate them. I was like, oh God, I hate that shirt. I never liked it. It's never been clean to me. I don't like that, ho. That's why when they got the red again, and when they do the black and red one, I like them jerseys. I like them, but like the white and red and the brown, I don't like that hoe. That hoe ugly, bro. Like, I've never been a fan of it. Period. I never like watching this shit on TV. Like, them hoes don't look clean. A clean jersey, bro, was before the Orlando Magic changed their shit when they used to have the ones with the stars on the jersey. The old ones that Penny Hardaway and them used to wear. Man, them hoes used to be clean. Bro, remember, Vancouver? You remember the old Grizzlies?
Yeah,
bro. The Grizzlies shit used to be A1. Bro, they had some clean ass jerseys. Man, them hoes used to be clean.
Even
but the old Bulls jerseys, bro, being in '96 with Bulls jerseys and shit like that back then, them hoes was super clean back then. And you had the starter jackets and hat, man. Man,
we gonna open up the Sauceline, man. Look, I see some folks want to get in on the Jersey conversation, so we go open this up. And
what they
and Simpy Ken, I want you to call in. Now, my fault, I ain't calling you Simpy Ken. You've been working on it. I want Ken to call in and tell us the events of how he got ejected from the game today, man. Oh, we got a call coming in. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the Sauceline this evening?
Hey, what's up, Honcho?
What's the
motherfucking Daniela, bro?
Daniela, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What kind of sauce you want to drip on the line?
Man, hey, Honcho, you know I'm your boy. You know I'm gonna keep it 100. You know what I'm talking about?
All right. Yes, sir.
Hey, look out. Let's be 100. Let's be 100 all the way around. We know the national media hate the H. They know the national media hate H-Town, bro. They talk. They look for every opportunity to talk down on us. Am I lying?
No, you ain't lying. That's the motherfucking truth.
Hey, let's do this though. Hey, only thing we need to talk about is how we gonna make these motherfuckers eat crow all motherfucking year. Me personally, I want to make these motherfuckers. I want to force feed these niggas crow all year to feathers coming out their mouth, Honcho. Because all I hear all year is about Rockets this, they can't do this. I don't know what Rockets did to the I don't know what the Rockets did to national media, but these niggas hate us, bro. They hate our guts, bro. I don't know what we done did. These niggas hate us, Honcho.
Man, they still.
But see, all I'm gonna say is this though: we gonna hold it down. Honcho, you hold it down. Wink hold it down. Wise hold it down. The sauce hold it down. But let me tell you something like this though: what I'm gonna do to hold it down for my people, for the sauce, after I get off the line with y'all, I'm gonna make sure I go splash some sauce on one of these bitches back. You know what I'm talking about?
And tell her what's the motherfucking deal.
Yes, sir.
That's the bet, man. I appreciate the call, y'all.
Hey, I just wanted to say, man, y'all boys hold it down. I know I'm playing around right now, but real talk, bro. All I hear all year is niggas hating on our city, bro. These niggas in the national media hate our guts, man. Y'all the only niggas around here holding down for us, man. And real bullshit aside, bro, we love y'all niggas for that shit. You know what I'm talking about? These niggas out here that's right. We gonna ride for y'all niggas to the end, bro, because y'all ride for the city, bro. You know what I'm talking about?
Already, man. I appreciate that love, man.
Keep holding it down, Honcho.
That's what I'm talking about.
Man, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
That's the type of shit that gets you fired up, man. I appreciate that. Boy, y'all call in, get us amplified, man. That's what I'm talking about. And I appreciate that love, man. That's what makes
that pick me right up, bro. That picked me right up right there.
We had to let go of that. Just the Texas talk was getting depressed. Once we just switched the game up, like you said, we doing it for the city, man. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the Sauceline this evening?
What's the motherfucking deal, man? It's Trey, bro. What's going down,
Trey,
man?
what's the motherfucking deal, man? What kind of sauce you want to splash on the line tonight?
Boy, honestly, bro, I'm so glad the national media is not talking about how bad the Texans are, bro. Like, I'm like, for real. They don't even bring us up, and that's fine. I'm so happy that them niggas don't bring us up. Finally. Because these niggas they so trash, I don't even want no sign on them niggas. Anyway, soccer, them niggas soccer, we won some little award yesterday, man. Dynamo won some shit, man.
Yeah. Dynamo won the Open Cup. Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that is, but niggas won that hoe.
Shit, hey, at least they bringing the trophy home, man. Look, we ain't looking at another outing, or early playoff exit. They brought something home to the city. That's what count, man.
But the crazy thing about it, soccer season's still going. So I think that was like some Texas award or some shit.
Okay. So we're gonna have to get Hector on there. Look, Hector. I'm looking. I see you in the chat flipping. You're gonna have to call in and tell us what exactly was shaking with that Open Cup, Hector. So Hector can school us in, because he's the resident Dynamo expert. And let us know what's shaking with that. I don't know exactly how it works.
All right, then, man.
All I know is it's a championship. I'll take it. But I appreciate the call, Trey, man.
I'll take that hoe.
Already. And, man, I agree with him on that, man. I'm glad that the shit. I'd rather not be talked about than just continually hear the national media. Because I'm surprised they ain't, because they would love to just wring this shit dry as far as the Texans. Oh, Texans aren't showing up. We told you about Deshaun Watson. We told you that they wouldn't do this and do that. But, shit.
Oh, so maybe they need to start talking shit about the Texans. I don't know.
We got a call coming in, man. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the Sauceline, man?
Man, it's Kenneth.
Kenneth, how did you get ejected from the game today, man? We need to know that before anything else, man.
All right, look. Let me tell you how it happened. So look, we was getting our ass beat. I ain't gonna lie. Motherfucking tight end was because Katie mostly run the ball, but they threw one pass that shit went for over 40 yards. It was on the 3-yard line, close by the end zone. All right.
Okay.
So I'm lined up. I'm inside. I'm about to guard in the tackle. Guarding the center and guard. I'm lined up, and they run the zone. They run the outside. No, yeah, they run the outside zone, and they scored on that hole, right? So that's 6 right there. And then as soon as they scored, the tight end wanted to keep blocking and shit, because they kept on sliding the protection my way and shit, because I was penetrating the backfield and all that. So the tight end want to keep pushing me after the play over, and I pushed it, and then I took my mouthpiece on that, and I'm telling this nigga, bro, what's wrong with you, bro? And then that man want to push me, like, bro, the shit was not sweet. I'm talking about I pushed his ass back, and then the ref want to throw, he threw 2 flags, unsportsmanlike conduct on both of us. We both got ejected out of the game. You know what I'm saying? Because he want to talk all that tough shit after the play was over. Like, bro, y'all don't score it, it's all good, but don't be over there trying to push me after the play over, you know what I'm saying? At least I pushed his ass back, that's from the Texans,
Tell me, man, let him know how
won't even do it.
You might be a simp, but you ain't no hoe, you know what I'm saying? Let him know, man. You say you ain't playing no game.
Yeah, that shit was not
Nah, fuck it. But you got some more sauce you want to splash on the line, though, man?
Yeah, it was one question for Wink. I wanted to ask him if he saw the one play where the Giants only had 10 men on the field and we stood there and scored. It was by the red zone. I wanted to ask him if he saw that one. But I'm gonna go back to the chat.
All right.
And wait for the answer.
All right, that's a BT. Man, appreciate you calling in, though, Kenneth, man. Good game. You got your ass ejected. You better start acting right. I'm going to tell your mama. So good question, man. He was asking if you saw the play where the Giants had 10 men on the field and still stopped the Texans. That shit there is...
that would happen, please. Who else does that really happen to? Who else is really in that situation with this type of talent, bro? Nobody but us. Every time, the shit is laughable. The type of records that be getting put up on us, fucking with the record that got broke with Peyton Manning happened right in Houston in the end zone. It was
you ain't lying. Hold on, what's the motherfucking deal we got calling in on the Sauceline, man?
Hey, can you hear me, Honcho?
Yeah.
Hey, it's one more time. This done y'all a messenger, bro. I just wanted one more thing, bro. Real talk, because I don't feel like I got it all off my chest this last time. That's all right?
Yeah, it's all good, man. Spill your sauce.
Man, hey, look out, Honcho, bro. Real talk, bro. I'm telling y'all something, bro.
All right.
I don't know what it is about H-Town, bro, but real talk. Y'all are the only niggas holding it down for us right now, bro. The HoustonChronicle.com ain't holding us down. The Battle Red blog ain't holding us down. ESPN ain't holding us down. Y'all boys, Wink, Wise, Hector, all y'all boys holding us down, bro. I just wanted to let y'all know that, bro. And, hey, look, man, we suck right now. I ain't gonna lie, bro. And I fucking hate that shit. I had to sit back. I can't even watch motherfucking Undisputed no more. I can't watch First Take no more because all they do, the first little opportunity they get is to motherfucking hate on us, bro. And, man, I just wanted to let y'all know, bro. Y'all just keep holding us down, bro. Y'all, man, for real, bro. Because this the only local sports show we got that we can keep it 100. We can cuss. We can talk about weed. We can talk about hoes. We can keep it 100 here, man. Y'all boys only ones holding it down, bro.
Exactly. We gonna keep it all the way real, man. We ain't gonna play no games.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say that. I ain't want to interrupt. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to throw that out there, bro. Because, hey, real talk, whether niggas know it or not, y'all the only boys holding it down for the Ace right now. Whether y'all know it or not right now, bro. Because look here. The Chronicle gave up on us, bro. The HoustonTexans.com gave up on us, bro. The motherfucking ESPN gave up on us, bro. Y'all niggas the only ones holding it down for us, bro. And I appreciate y'all boys for that. I just wanted to say that, bro.
I already appreciate that, Daniela, man. Man.
Yes, sir.
That's some real shit, though.
Close to sleep, but that just gave me the motivation right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think I got to do it tonight.
Yeah,
I got to knock it out.
But that's what I say. Honestly, though, I'll just stop paying attention to all other sort of because I really don't listen to a lot of other people anyway. Outside of the round, I'm probably not listening to too much of that. I might, if it's like a fact or somebody might tweet. I'll take like tweets and stuff because I don't really want to get into getting other people's perspectives and, you know, intertwine that with my own thoughts or anything like that. So I'll really be staying away from a lot of that shit. And that's a bit, I mean, it's sad to hear that, you know, if these other sources, they really just kind of abandoning ship. You know what I mean? Like, I know we upset, but we just really trying to find a resolution because we want this team to be the best that it can be. Okay, Hector, we're gonna get your input in just a second. We're going to take this next call, and then we're going to get your input on the Dynamo situation. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the sauce line this evening?
What's going on, man? It's H-Town Fighters.
Already, H-Town Fighters. What's the motherfucking deal? What kind of sauce you want to splash on the line tonight?
Man, you guys took my thunder, man. Y'all stole my thunder tonight. I was calling about the Rockets, you know, and I just feel like, you know, what y'all saying is true, man, you know, because with the national media and everything like that, it seemed like, you know, they hate us, especially when it comes to the Rockets and everything like that. And I feel like if Carmelo Anthony, you know, would be like, let's say, on the Warriors and everything like that, like it would be more praise, more hype, you know, everything like that. And then I think, you know, like a lot of people are saying that our off season is a D and an F and everything like that. But I really think our off season really, to be honest with you, is about a B. And I think one of the most underrated things that we did this year was unloading the Ron Anderson contract and picking up, in my opinion, a solid point guard in Brandon Knight and getting Marquise Chris, who nobody talks about, who I think is going to be a good asset for us and everything like that. So I just want to hear you guys' take on that and everything like that. And, you know, we already know what it is with the national media and everything like that. So, you know, we got to hold it down for ourselves.
Already, man. I appreciate the call, man, holding it down. And, man, Marquise Chris, that was a good one because I forgot about Chris and along with that pickup. So that's definitely going to be a very interesting asset. Here, give me 1 second here, and we're going to splash some sauce on there. Y'all give me 1 second. I'm going to pause the sauce line for just a second so we can address a couple of things, and we'll open it back up so we can continue to take some calls and get your thoughts on that. Give me un segundo while I resolve this little thing here real quick, like, give me 1 second. All right. I don't know. Hector, you can hear me, Hector? Can you hear me, Hector? Sorry about that. I had to fix that. So man, but definitely talking about Chris. Chris is he's a pretty good athletic guy. Because like I said, I had to kind of get familiarized with him when they picked him up because I really wasn't that aware of him. But again, with the athleticism, with guys that can distribute the ball, I mean, you can talk about that. They're going to be able to take this guy and make him into a legitimate threat. And not saying he's going to be a world beater or anything like that, but what's been going on with the Rockets lately? They've been able to take guys who are on the brink, like we mentioned with Eric Gordon. A lot of people are like, oh, well, what is Eric Gordon right now? You know, he's injury prone or he's not going to be, you know, this, that, or the third. And now he's been with the Rockets. And again, with 3-point champion 1 year, fucking, you know, a 6th man of the year, right back in the conversation again the next year. A guy that you really have to respect. And again, you know, at any given time, he can go off on you. Now, he wasn't as consistent last year as he was the year prior, but he was still a valuable asset. And then I know with some of the injuries, you know, he had a lot of starting time, so I didn't really look at him as much of a 6th man last year, maybe as I did the year prior. But, you know, with these guys that they brought in, even if they don't try to use them as assets, because everybody's an asset. You might have one or two guys that are untouchable, and everybody else is on the block. If you're not just really like a big deal, like I say, the only people I feel like would be untouchable on this roster right now would be you probably got Paul, you got Harden, you got Carmelo, because he's been wanting to bring him in for so long, and you got Capella. And I want to say Tucker, but I'm not going to go out on a limb and say Tucker. I think if the offer is right, Tucker might be available. But if you look at what Tucker did, Tucker was 40-something% from three from in the playoffs, and then plays great defense. Like, to me, Tucker might be the most underrated dude in the league, and that's what I was pissed off that he didn't make an all defensive team. That shows that people were not watching Rockets basketball, because if you didn't put Tucker on the all defensive team, you honestly were not watching the Rockets play basketball last year, and that's the thing that pissed me off more than probably any of the rest of it. If you got all these other guys in consideration for executive of the year and six man and MVP, Tucker should have been in that conversation for as far as defensively. Now, Hector, man, we need your expertise, your hexpertise. I'm trying to stretch it. Just let me make it. Talking about the Dynamo, the Open Cup, folks are kind of wondering, what exactly is the Open Cup? We know it's a championship. We'll take any kind of awards we can get in the city. But, kind of what exactly does the Open Cup mean in relation to, soccer as a whole, the MLS, and, just basically kind of school us in on what the Dynamo just won.
So the U.S. Open Cup is actually a 105-year tournament that's been here in the U.S. It's run by the Lamar Hunt family, so I'm pretty sure if people know about football, they know about the Lamar Hunt family. But they had this tournament. It has nothing to do with the MLS. It is actually something that I personally would love to see more of, as to have soccer more open, because honestly, the only real league, or in many people's eyes, is the MLS. So. The Open Cup, it's open to any team. If you're an amateur team and you qualify, you're allowed to participate in the tournament. So it gives players an opportunity to get seen at by some big name teams from the MLS. So that's a lot of talent comes in. It's a great way to test your depth, and it is a very historical tournament. So it is a big tournament to win. And I mean, last night the Dynamo won their first ever U.S. Open Cup and their first ever appearance in that final. The team they beat was the Philadelphia Union, who actually was doing really good in the MLS right now. And that's actually their third appearance in that U.S. Open Cup final, and only for them to lose. So, I mean, this is very big for the Dynamo. They get some money out of it. Some allocation money comes to it. Plus, they get a spot in the CONCACAF Champions League. Now, obviously for people that don't know what that is, it is a tournament amongst some of the top teams in all of North America, the Caribbean, Central America. So you're going to talk about some of the top teams from El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago. You're going to see this is a big tournament, and obviously if you win this tournament, there's more money to you. Plus, you get a spot at competing in the FIFA World Club Cup. So you get to go up there in that level too. So this is a big opportunity for the Dynamo. This is the Dynamo's return to the CONCACAF Champions League, because last time they've been here was back in back when they lost to Los Angeles Galaxy, because they were the runner-ups, which was a qualification spot. So this is the return to the CONCACAF Champions League for the Dynamo. It's really huge. Plus, with that extra money, that's going to give them more of opportunities to go in and purchase more players, because they're going to need a lot of depth, especially with the fact that you're going to not only be playing in the MLS next year, but you got the U.S. Open Cup again, and then you're going to be competing with the CONCACAF Champions League. So it's going to be quite the workload for the Dynamo.
In your honest opinion, what would you say the chances are, percentage-wise, for the Dynamo to win the CONCACAF?
I mean, no MLS team has yet to have won the CONCACAF Champions League. It's usually gone to the teams from Mexico. And it's just because most of them have been around for a very long time. A lot of these teams from Mexico, some of them are hitting their 100-year anniversary at this point. So a lot of them are well established. A lot of people know the big names when it comes to Mexico. And so, I mean, you have yet to have seen a team from the MLS do it. So it's gonna be a tough task. But I mean, with the young group of guys that this Dynamo team have, and especially with some of the stars that they have and the quick players that they have, I think they can definitely do well against some of the lower, or in some people's eyes, the lower teams like from Central America and the Caribbean. But when we're talking about other MLS opponents and Mexico, they will definitely be able to put up a good fight. These guys now have experience of what it's like to win a championship. They're going to be hungry, and I'm sure they're going to apply that for the rest of this MLS season as well as next year.
Good shit, Will. Shout out to the Dynamo. Hector told y'all. How long did Hector keep telling y'all, watch the Dynamo? Watch the Dynamo. Watch the goddamn Dynamo. Y'all ain't listen. And they went and got the motherfucking championship. Now y'all acting like some of them fair weather Rockets fans. Now y'all fucking with the Dynamo because they went and got the goddamn trophy. Ain't that a bitch? No, there's a good shout out to the Dynamo.
I couldn't even go buy a U.S. Cup championship shirt.
Motherfuckers
on my size. I was like, what the hell?
Me right now, goddamn. But man, okay, hey Hector, your opinion, man. Well, never mind. We ain't gonna ask Hector his opinion on the best Rockets. He's a damn Lakers fan. We can't ask him on his Rockets jersey.
I will say though, I hated those blue jerseys, man.
Oh, we do want Hector's opinion then on the Rockets jerseys. Then good job.
Like the thing is with me, I hate cartoon logos.
Yeah. And
like that cartoon rocket, I just thought it was stupid. I mean, if you like that jersey, that's cool. I'm not like hating on it, but like, you know, like I thought there was nothing wrong with the ketchup and mustard jerseys. So
yeah, them the best ones.
Okay, this is a good question. It says I definitely.
Especially I guess since I work there, I hate the city jerseys. You see all the other NBA teams with their city jerseys, and you see that they're cool, and your city jersey is pretty much your same red jersey except it's in Chinese. Yeah. So it's not very creative.
Who do we got to hire? Who's in charge of that? Who we got to get at to get more creative with the city jersey?
That's on Nike.
Oh shit! Look, we don't really. They can take the flack from that other shit. They don't want no flack about some people angry about some goddamn city jerseys. We are gonna set it off. We are gonna start burning jerseys.
Nike doesn't even have the rights to put that Noche Latina. You know how like Adidas used to have like Los Rockets or things like that.
Yeah.
So they can't do Nike doesn't have those rights, so they can't do that.
Okay.
So they can't even do like special like Hispanic Heritage Night jerseys.
Damn. I gotta figure out what happened when my damn settings must have got reset. So I appreciate the love. Shout out to Jason Ducey and shout out to Broderick Books, man, for the super chat, super saucy love. And Jason said H-Town, yes sir, H-Town, hold it down. And Broderick saying follow Forza Football on Twitter for Houston High School football news. Absolutely. We're gonna start making sure to get a more consistent collabo so we can start bringing out some high school news. Because I mean, look, it's just honestly, it's ridiculous the level of focus that we've given the Texans and look, we ain't finna go out like last year. And do all that and then just be depressed. Like I say, we want to give y'all good sauce, give y'all good flavor, and it's more enjoyable to talk about teams who get some shit done. So we'll make sure to do that. What you won't find on Forza Football though is Kenneth's performance getting kicked out the game because that was just unacceptable. But I'm pretty sure somebody mama got it on camera. Kenneth was over there getting whooped by the Katy tight end. So we're gonna see if we can find that. We're gonna be scanning the internet and the interwebs to see what have we can get the real story. You know what I'm saying? He got a big face. I think he kicks a little dirt on him and all that other good shit. But here's the deal, man. Sauceline is up. We'll take a couple more calls and we'll wrap it up here in a little bit. So if you got a call, if you got a text, if you got something you want to say in the way of talking Texans, talking about the Rockets, talking about the Stros, but something I did want to talk about. We haven't been given an adequate amount of time to the Rockets, so I guess we can talk about a slight amount of Texans. I really don't even want to. But Andre Howe, man, a cancer in remission. I think that's something that we need to discuss. But first, we got a call coming in. All right, what's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the sauce line this evening?
Yeah, this is Mr. Killer KB.
Mr. Killer KB, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What kind of sauce you want to drop on the line tonight?
Man, I was just calling because, hey, I got to be a real nigga about it. I want to get my nice fat serving of some crow. I didn't want Melo here from the start, but then I sat down and I thought about it, and I'm just like, you know what? When we was fucking up in Game 7 with all them damn threes, we really could have just kicked it to that boy Melo in the post, and he would have been getting us some buckets. And that definitely would have made up more than the deficit that we lost by. So You know, that's I just want to call in and eat the crow on that and be a real nigga about it. And you know, like everybody else saying, I've been fucking with y'all for a long time, and you know, just keep doing what y'all niggas do. But I fuck with all y'all. You know, we ain't be hitting up some boxing action. Sometimes we're gonna have to talk a little bit more. Hector, hey, I ain't a Dynamo fan, but hey, you know, I take your knowledge and why, you know, you just a real nigga. You just be holding it down too, like everybody else. And you know, that's all I gotta say. I fuck with y'all though. Take it easy, stay saucy.
Man, appreciate that love, Mr. Killer KB, man. Hey, shout out to Killer, man. Shout out to everybody been calling through showing love. And that's some real shit, man. The man called in and claimed his own crow, man. Ain't no way we would ever really been able to force it. He claimed his own crow, you know, and that's the real way to do it. We got another call coming in. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the Sauceline this evening?
You already know.
Already. What kind of sauce you want to drop on the line tonight, Mr. Voodoo Child?
It's the Voodoo Child. First off, you know, they're fucking Andre Howe. Praise be to Jeebus. But what I really want to talk about was the whole Clowney situation that 16 was saying in his press conference.
Yeah, we go discuss. What you got? What
did you hear about the whole? He basically said he wasn't injured thing.
Yeah. I want to discuss that too. That's a very interesting thing. We go get on that. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that?
I mean, I wouldn't think anything of it if it wasn't for the fact that, you know, they had the soundbite of Rack saying, you know, coming back off the knee injury, it's going to take some time. We'll get him ready. And he's like, this guy wasn't injured. Honestly, I have no thoughts unless that was Clowney holding out or they were holding him out for a contract. That's the only thing that makes sense there. I mean, in my eyes.
Okay, we definitely gonna discuss that because there are definitely some conflicting situations going on with that scenario, and so we definitely gonna talk about that. But yeah, I appreciate you calling in. We're gonna talk about that right now. Bet. Man, yeah, very interesting. We're gonna pause the line for a second. We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk a little bit of Texas. We're gonna talk about a couple of things because. Yeah, these are a couple of factors that need to be discussed. And we'll talk about that too. I see Chandler texting in about the Astros. We will answer that too. First, let's give Andre Howe his due. You know, he's back. And when was that? When did they get announced? Like March, May, something like that, I think. That he was in with the non-Hodgkin lymphoma and now he's back already. Before draft, okay, so about maybe March area. But see, that's the thing, man. You know, the funny thing about him and you know the route that Rick Smith took with his wife is they both opted not to go through chemo, and they both went, you know, I guess a more what you would call a holistic approach to it. And I think both of them are in remission. And remission can mean a lot of things. Like you got to be careful with that term remission because people automatically means they're cancer free. The remission just means that your tumors have basically shrunk. That you don't have. You're not seeing the level that you were seeing at one point in time, so that it's starting to regress. So it doesn't always mean that, you know, remission doesn't always mean cancer free, but it means that you're not in as bad of a situation as you originally were. So let's talk about Jadeveon Clowney. Now, I got questions, and they need answers. I got opinions. I got thoughts on this situation. Man, here is the motherfucking deal. So apparently, like I said, I didn't catch it verbatim. I didn't catch the whole deal. But more or less what was said is that Clowney was saying that he wasn't hurt in the offseason and that he was good to go. He doesn't know why the Texans were holding him back. I think that this can be a couple of things. You know what I'm saying? It could be a couple of things. Now, it could be the Texans, you know, being precautious, being cautious, not precautious, being cautious. And with that, I have no problem because you see, the dude got hurt in the fucking. So you couldn't even play the second game of the season. So, I mean, if there was a situation already, and it wasn't a knee situation, but still, it makes me wonder. Now, it could be a situation where the Texans were being overzealous, you know, trying to keep him from getting hurt. It could be a situation where, in hindsight, you know, he's saying it now. Who knows then, you know, it could be something, hey, well, look, my performance so far ain't been that great. I don't want the teams to think, this, that, or the third about me. I want them to think I was in a better position than I was. That could be something to affect the check later on. It could be a couple of things, because I just find it really odd that an organization would just say, "Oh, we're not going to try to get this guy in game shape when he's good to go." I find something strange about that. But here's the deal. We'll start with Wise and we'll work our way to Wink. Wise, your thoughts, man, on Clowney saying that he wasn't hurt basically in the preseason and that he was good to go, and he doesn't know why the Texans held him out. I mean, why do you think he would say something like that, or why do you think the Texans would do something like that if that's the case?
Basically, why he was making that statement, because he was basically saying that he got to knock off that rust. He didn't have the reps during training camp and in the preseason and things like that. And he was saying the factor of that was because they didn't allow him to play. And you heard Shane Leckler came out and talked about Bill O'Brien and said how he felt overworked as a punter and he was treated like a rookie all over again. And now you're hearing Jadeveon Clowney come out and say things. Somebody else going to come out and say something like maybe Tyrann Mathieu or something like that. This not looking good so far. It's looking like this guy Bill O'Brien need to be gone, because this seems like a team that's trending downward. They having locker room issues. The players not respecting the coach. The coach don't know how to manage guys. We know this man, a player knows his body better than what an organization knows. He knows when he's ready to go. He knows when he's 100%. And if he felt like he was 100%, why wouldn't you put that guy out there? I mean, the guy know he had a contract year. He know he got to get those reps in the preseason are pivotal. Why wouldn't you put him in? Why wouldn't you let him get the reps? Even if he has had an injury problem, that doesn't mean shit at all. It doesn't mean anything. If he say he want to go out and play and he get injured, that's on him. But the fact that you didn't even allow him to go out there and play, that's a problem with me. That's a big problem with me. And that tells you how this team doesn't know how to manage players. They don't know how to let guys get the reps. And that's why I was saying, why is Kiki QT out for 8 weeks with a hamstring injury? I know guys go out for 6 weeks and things like that. But I seen this guy, as soon as he hurt his hamstring, when I went to the training camp, that guy was out there doing kick returns. He was out there practicing then. Why he haven't been practicing now? That just doesn't – it's something not adding up in this franchise. And I'm telling you, if this team goes 5-11 or 6-10, you're going to hear more players like Tyrann Mathieu, maybe even a Deshaun Watson come out here and say something about Bill O'Brien, because this guy's a fraud.
I'm not gonna lie. You to even expanding on your little point, what you said was very important. Is that like you were actually there? Like Hector was there at practices to see what was going on. Like y'all was giving us firsthand, real live information about what this team was doing in practice and what y'all was seeing in the ferocity and shit like that in practice. How does that shit just go away in a matter of weeks when real live games are being on the line? And y'all actually got to see how fast these dudes were playing. Like it was like how? Like y'all was like in practice, Clowney was dominating. So how is it not now? You know what I'm saying? With the amount of reps and shit that he didn't get because he didn't. And even in weeks, they were still saying like he was limited in practice and shit like that. I never believed he was hurt like that anyway. I was like, bro, what are they doing? They just holding him out for whatever reason. And it's just like, I mean, Kiki's situation, okay, even if he has been healed up, like, I said it early, bro. Like, I said it. Like, Kiki is not going to make an impact in the first few weeks. If he even make it on the roster to play because of an injury or some shit like that. I've been said that. And it was just like, you know, you can't, you got to be able to voice and you got to say everything you can with this team, because if this is, like, I don't have no reason to take him as a liar to come out and say some shit like that, because he came out and said real shit before. So I can only go on by history and just how he carries himself and how I've watched him play. It's no reason a person like that could digress unless they actually get game time at reps. And we all said he looked rusty and shit like that. And if this situation is what's hindering him, then the fans who said what they've been saying about him owe him a big fucking apology. You owe him a big fucking apology, because it ain't even his fucking fault.
Now that I think about it, last week he broke the news that he was going to play, and Bill O'Brien said the next day he's going to say, "Well, I don't know if he's going to play. I got to check with the medical
Right.
staff
You
first."
even had Rex saying, "Well, I didn't know he was."
But here's the
a
deal in a
doctor."
situation like that. Ultimately, though, that comes up to the staff because the head coach ain't the one over there checking and rubbing on his leg and his knee and all that. He's getting feedback from whoever is on that staff managing, the situation. So what I'm wondering is this something that parlays on the or that you would put on the strength coach, the new guy coming in and doing some different things, thinking that he sees something different or greater. But Hector, real quick, I want to get your thoughts. How do you feel about this situation? What Clowney says basically, he's saying that he wasn't hurt, and the coaches or the staff saying that he was unavailable. What are your thoughts with this?
I mean, I don't know at this point. It's like it gets confusing more and more as the season's going with this coaching staff. One of the big issues that we talked about, well, that Wink definitely popped up during the whole preseason was that he wanted to see the guys played in more, and then now you're thinking maybe they're playing too safe, and then it just seems everything is just like being like just too safe, or I don't know. It just doesn't seem like. I feel like just nobody cares at this point. Like, I think Clowney just said something that just kind of solidified to what we kind of already felt from this coaching staff already. And I don't know how much we could put it on the athletic trainer because, I mean, yeah, they're the ones that are supposed to be monitoring them and for rehab and all that. But at the end of it all, if the coach is saying that they're not healthy, the coach is pulling them out of the game, then I mean, it's on. That's another thing.
But again, so we're looking at a situation though. We can use that. We can use the preseason deal, and we can talk about these things. But preseason, I think the preseason excuse is over with because you got to look at it now. A lot of guys were getting they got their last couple of game actions in. It's 3 weeks into the season, about to be week 4. That's preseason right there. Your 4 fucking games of preseason. So the rust excuse at this point is no longer valid. I think going into this game 4. They are what we think they are. And so I think what you see coming into this game here is what you're going to get from them, because I don't think that it's a situation where, okay, I've knocked all the rust off. Because if that's the case, if you're seeing these guys who came in week 1 playing a couple of halves in the preseason, not even full games, coming in and being ready to go week 1. And you're talking about guys who've had, this is about to be game 4, 3 full games, about to be the 4th game. Nobody plays in the 4th preseason game anyway. And these starters are ready to roll. Then I think you got to look at it what it is. But why? I mean, what would be a legitimate reason that Clowney would be held out? I mean, what do you gain as a team from holding this guy out?
Man, I don't know, man.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, I feel sorry for the players on this team because it's a shame that you got the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in J.J. Watt, and you're just wasting his talent. It's a shame that you have Jadeveon Clowney, who has all the physical attributes, who had 9.5 sacks, led the league in tackle for a loss last season, and you're going to waste his talents. You might waste Deshaun Watson talent. You wasting Honey Badger time while he's here. It's just so sad what I'm seeing with this franchise. It's like they wasting guys' times out here. And it's sad. I can't wait. Like, at this point, how I'm feeling right now, if Jadeveon Clowney leaves this offseason, I'll be glad for him to go prosper somewhere else and get some big-time money and get this act and develop to the player he was supposed to be. Because obviously this franchise ain't trying to do that with him. They're not putting him at the defensive end. They're not using him to his taking advantages of his strengths. They're not doing that with none of the players we have. They won't even put an offensive line around Deshaun Watson. It's a joke at this point. They've been doing this for years.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. It's no reason for us to be in this situation with this amount of talent. Like, who else is wasting talent like us? No other team in the league is this talented, and is wasting the talent of that team. The Rams, they got about the same amount of talent with a couple of other names. You got teams like the Jaguars, and we can go down the line of just talent that we can pretty much match up with teams across the league. And it's just like, who else has a roster assembled like this who's not winning? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it's fucking retarded. And the Texans need like a culture, like the culture of this team, bro. It has to change. If it changes, then the fans will get a change. They'll be able to have a different perspective because the team is holding themselves to a standard. Finally, like, what standard do we ever see this team hold itself to? Like, that's a real question. It's not rhetorical. I'm asking a real life question. What do they ever hold themselves to?
Upsetting us, falling short like they usually do.
Yeah, and I would agree with Clarence. It's definitely front office, this coaching staff issues, because it's the culture of this organization has been the same throughout multiple coaching staff. Because again, like I say, it starts at the very, very top, and it starts with your ownership and the way they want the ship ran, the type of people they bring in, because ultimately that's what matters as far as your GM and your coach is going to be your owners. And so what they want is they want guys that are by the book or that they perceive to be a certain type of way, and they want to set boundaries on them, and so there's going to be limitations. As far as the Clowney situation, I don't know. Like I say, for me, just trying to look at both sides of the coin, what does anybody have to gain from Clowney sitting out is throwed off to me. The rust, I can understand him not getting, certain those snaps and all those things now, but it's game time now, so I don't think rust is a valid excuse for anybody at this point. Once you get your fucking head knocked by the fucking Titans, that should be the knocking of the rust and the wake-up call to realize where you're at and what you need to do as a team to get back in the position that you need to be in. Now, the only legitimate person I have an excuse for in this point, even though I've been tough on him too, is Deshaun Watson, because you're supposed to have a line that's supposed to be able to protect you when you don't have that. And I mean, they're asking you to do too much. I mean, shit, they're trying to get you to run a somewhat complicated scheme, overly complicated when it's unnecessarily complicated. That's a better word. Unnecessarily complicated scheme without the time to diagnose, without the time to, decipher what's going on. And you can tell, like I say, he's calling out plays, he's calling out defenders, he's getting things going. But what good is being able to acknowledge and recognize things when the guys that are in front of you are inept? They lack the ability to stop anything from happening. So that's the only guy at this point that I can give a pass for the perceived regression. But even still, he's still the best quarterback in the AFC South if you're just looking at it statistically, and what he's being asked to do compared to the other guys. But as far as that, man, as on defense, there's a lot of individual stuff you got going on. I think you're looking at Watt and Clowney. Watt had a limited preseason. He looked ass in that first game. Understood. Came alive finally in the third game. You can talk about the Clowney situation. This is what I'm saying. I'm still trying to question that whole situation. Why play this guy one game, take him out another game if there has to be some other information that's going on? The Texans, they try to be like the Patriots in the sense of, we're not going to say anything, we're not going to release anything. Like the Patriots, well, if I'm going to put everybody on the injury report, or I'm gonna not give up any information on the injury report unless I just have to. They try to be secretive, but to no avail. So like I say, to me, I think it's a deeper underlying story. And something eventually is going to come out because, like I say, what is happening now, little holes are starting to get poked into the jug, and little things are leaking, little things are starting to look this way or that way. So I don't know ultimately. Like I said, I'm not going to put it on anybody one way or another, because I'm not going to say, it's all Clowney, saying the right thing, because he's had an injury history. I mean, it would be foolish to acknowledge, like, this guy's had several situations with the knee, and I'm not saying it's his fault. There was one point in time we playing with this shitty-ass fucking Reliant turf. It was fucking everybody off. He was a victim of that too. But again, like I say, there's been some history. Even after his healthy season, you go and get a knee scope done, which means you still got some stuff in there that you need to get cleaned up. So I'm not just going to say, it was 100% him. But at the same time, I'm trying to figure out, if this is the case, what do the Texans have to gain from doing that? Are you lowering his value, which I don't think is happening, one way or the other? Because, eventually your gameplay supersedes all of that. I'm trying to figure out what they would have to gain by doing some type of action like that, risking wanting to go out and deliberately lose games. Like I don't understand that. So I don't know exactly the point and or purpose of that. So I think it's going to be interesting to find out what happens with that, because if Clowney does end up leaving, then I think we'll start hearing a lot more of the story. Maybe if they are trying to reserve him, what if they may be interested in trying to trade him? Maybe they are trying to keep him healthy for some particular kind of action. Maybe, who knows, man? I have no idea what the actual plan is with that. And so we'll just have to definitely see what happens, because I'm pretty sure within the next few weeks to months, some more things will come out about this organization. Once players either leave or coaches leave or whatever else it may be, you'll start to hear some things that's going on that we have not heard before. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with that ultimately. There was another point too. It was what's his name? Oh, the Watson mic'd up. Now that was a very interesting one. Now the Watson mic'd up was an interesting piece, because him in the conversation that he must have had the night prior to with Sean Ryan. Now that I did read into a deeper level of that conversation by the tone in which Sean Ryan was speaking to him, and it seems like, when he talked about that conversation that we had, which seemed to be a more personal conversation, not like ultimately like, oh, this is a team. It is like a conversation between you and I, as a coach and a friend almost, saying that you have to play your style of ball. That's almost like saying, hey, we know that the others want you to do a certain thing, but we know what you're capable of, and you're just going to have to play in spite of that, in spite of the shit that's going on around you. But you're going to have to step it up. And when you listen to that mic'd up and you just realize how much Deshaun is getting hit. And I think a stat came out, what was that? The Texans by far are have the most quarterback hits or something like that on the fucking quarterback. And the Titans have the least, but that's because they don't fucking play any quarterbacks. Like it looks good, but they run all this fucking stupid ass Wildcat and all this other dumb shit they doing. So of course ain't nobody getting to their quarterback because they ain't putting none in the fucking game. But by far the Texans have, if we're seeing these stats, the Texans had these stats immediately after the game because they got motherfuckers in the booth that's handling this shit. And what I'm bothered by is why are they not doing something to resolve these issues? Because honestly, Clowney's cool. I cracked the jokes about it. I'd love to see Clowney stay in the Texans uniform, but Clowney's not in a position to make or break the Texans. He's been here for several years. He's not in a position that's going to either make and or break the Texans. We got a young up-and-comer who could hopefully do something. But you're talking about a quarterback that doesn't come along very often. And when they do come along, the Texans don't go after them. So my thing is, you finally got one in-house. It's like when you got the statues, when you got the trash-ass quarterbacks, you got the great line to protect their motherfucking ass and make them look better than what they really are. But then when you actually have quarterbacks who are mobile, who are talented, like I say, David Carr was not as bad as he looked. He just became gunshot because he got his head knocked. I mean, when you first come in as a rookie and you come into the league and you getting your head knocked off every motherfucking play, setting records, I mean, shit, eventually you're going to respond to something. You're going to be triggered, goddamn. Like, what else can he do? He's going to expect this certain type of play. And you're going to have the same thing. But the thing about Watson is he's a champion. He's a winner. So he's on a different caliber than Carr was. But at the same time, it's like, what are you going to do to keep this dude upright, man? And so I think that conversation between Sean Ryan and Deshaun Watson was pretty telling on the mic up. I think it told some other things. We'll start with Wise and then work our way to the right, man. Wise, your thoughts on that mic'd up conversation, man? And just the whole mic'd up. I mean, what did it tell you? What did it kind of bring to light, in your opinion?
All those points you made, that's what stood out to me in the video. I mean, for Sean Ryan to go out there and say we had a conversation the night before, and I'm telling you to be yourself and do the things and just go out there and have fun. This is all the things we've been seeing. This is the things we've been saying. He got to just go out there and be himself. And that tells me he don't have faith in Bill O'Brien. He don't have faith in the plays Bill O'Brien is calling, what he's trying to force Deshaun Watson to do. That the hits he was taking, man, it looked as bad as that Geno Atkins hit. I seen one play where he got knocked out by Isaiah Wynn and he flipped over and he was grimacing and things like that. So, I mean, man, that is terrible, man. This is what I've been saying for a while. How do you get a quarterback and not protect them, man? You had the opportunities to draft all these quarterbacks in the last 8 years. You don't want to draft a quarterback in the first round. You don't want to draft a quarterback in the second round. You want to go and draft Tom Savage late in the draft and things like that and try to develop him. But this organization, just talking about them deflates me, man, because they don't know what they're doing. It's just going to take – it's going to have to – I don't even know anymore. Like, they're going to have to sell this franchise. Bob and they're going to have to sell this franchise because I feel bad for Deshaun. Like I said, I feel bad for Deshaun Watson. I feel bad for J.J. Watt. I feel bad for Tyrann Mathieu. I feel bad for these guys because these guys put in the work and they know what they can do. They have the talent. It's just that the fucking front office is the fucking head coach trying to do too much. What happened to the offense is not running the same plays they ran last year? You can look at last year's offense and this year's offense. If you go back and look at the film, they're not running the same plays.
No.
And if it was working, why would you change it? I don't understand that. You're not running the run pass option. No, you're not doing that anymore. You're trying to run these funky ass screens that don't work. You have questionable play calls, and like I said last year, you don't want to get to a point where Deshaun Watson got to go out there and try to win every single game. And guess what's happening? They doing exactly that. I don't even like talking about the Texans no more because it just pissed me off when I think about things like that.
Like, honestly, bro, like, I agree with what you're saying, Wise, because this shit, bro, these dudes be doing this shit like this. This is why I was never high on Brian Game. This is why I didn't want, like, I was angry about Bill O'Brien getting an extension before he's proved anything with this franchise. Like, he makes abysmal decisions and is more telling that Sean Ryan cares more enough to have engaged dialogue to keep him interested in the game because he know he's losing interest. He know he sees a downwind, and then when he gets perked up, man, he can go out and go make the plays, man. You gotta have a player like that. He needs constant communication from his head coach or whoever believes in him. You know what I'm saying? To talk to him because a player like that can't lose his spirit like that, man. Like he can't lose. He can't afford to look at his talent be wasted away on a franchise that don't believe in him and sabotages him by not giving him what he needs. And you blatantly do it year in, year out until it's his contract year and he has to go out and go do this. Because I tell you what, if he ever leaves the Houston Texans, it'll be the worst move of our franchise history. And I guarantee you, if he goes anywhere else before he leaves here, and say like in his last year, like I predicted, he'll end up getting us a fucking championship. I guarantee you, Deshaun Watson will go to win 2, 3, maybe 4 championships somewhere else if they have the right roster. Getting him, whoever gets him when he leaves, if he was to ever leave the Houston Texans, is going to be in for a treat. And as long as they're doing what they need to do and making sure they protect him, get him a solid run game and decent options in the passing game, he's going to take his places. And yeah, that's just how I feel about it.
All right, Hector, man, your thoughts on I don't know if you had a chance to see the mic'd up from that the Texans actually put out themselves. And if you did, man, your thoughts and opinions on that situation and how does that, I mean, that slight inside look, how does that make you feel? How does that make you think about the Texans organization?
I mean, if that was the case, then how come you haven't done any plays where it would benefit him? That's the only issue with me. And I mean, no, I think I don't know what the Texans organization was thinking when they put that up there, but it's not comforting. I mean, you know, not everybody's already on the fire Bill O'Brien bandwagon at this point. That just kind of put the nail on the coffin for the fans. I mean, you know, if you're in charge of promoting stuff for the team, that's the last thing you want to put up there. But not trying to say, you know, trying to defend Bill O'Brien because obviously he's been terrible. I mean, for these past games, I mean, his management is terrible, his gameplay is terrible. You know, just like White said, I mean, the plays from last year worked perfectly. You were running pistol, you were running RPO. What the heck happened where you're like, nah, that won't work? I mean, that won't work, but screen passes to DeAndre Hopkins will. I mean, what is it that's going on through your head that makes you think that this is going to work when you're 0-3, but you're still running the same thing? You're still going run, pass. You're still trying to make Lamar Miller run down the middle when obviously he shouldn't be running down the middle. Like, when are you going to look at that? And when are you going to finally do that one thing that you say at every press conference, which is, I got to coach better?
Right.
And it was one thing at the end of the video where Deshaun Watson had his head down and Nick Martin went up there and tried to comfort him. And was like,
yeah.
We got to get this. We got to lead this team. I mean, he said we got to keep their head on the swivel. It's a shame when the players got to motivate themselves and the coach can't do that. That's his job. He can't even do his job right.
How is it what's telling to me
is that's the only old lineman that can protect him.
How is it that in every single mic'd up, he's been so involved, he's been this, he's been that, he's been so rah-rah, he's had everything to say and all of the mic'd ups, but now, like, he's kind of fading back. They show him, like, they show him and Deshaun Watson talking on the sideline, like, they not really engaging. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, it's a weird relationship. Like, it's just shit. Bill O'Brien's just a weirdo to me. Like, he just does awkward shit, and he thinks he tries to get cute all the time, and he thinks he's gonna get somebody off his rocker, and he never fools anybody. So quit trying. Just give up hope.
Okay. Well, see, here's what I won't use the mic'd up, because like what Hector made a point is, you know, whoever's in charge of marketing that. I mean, editing is a motherfucker. So there may have been instances where, you know, Bill was saying this, that, and the third, but you looking at the fan base, you know, probably as soon as he just showed up on a mic'd up, motherfuckers would have cut it off or been booing because everybody's mad at him and everything now. So I won't use that. I think it was kind of again, like I say, some of that shit was kind of a sketchy way to edit it. But again, I'm pretty sure people inside the organization have ways that they feel too. I'm pretty sure whoever's in charge of media has a particular way they feel too. Look, we're going to use some of this mic'd up propaganda to get his ass up out of here. But my thing is this, man. Good question coming in on the Sauceline, and we'll take one or two of these questions, and we'll wrap it up here shortly, or we'll wrap it up after that. Let's see. We got Broderick says, question for the round table. Which coordinator is more to blame at this point, Romeo or Billy O? And explain why or why not. We'll start with Wink on that one.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Romeo Cannell, because everything from Bill O'Brien was to be expected. I'm not surprised by any of this shit. I called it. So it hands down is Romeo Cannell, because he has the talent, and the fact that guys like Duke aren't even being, the fact that the head coach doesn't even know his name, and the way he was being referred to, it's just like, really? Like, the arrogance of this fucking guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. You know, so Romeo Cannell, I figured he was going to do one thing, and one thing we both harped on, we just felt like, man, he was going to do some phenomenal things with Zach Cunningham. And, you know, Dylan Cole is already out with an injury. He's going to be out for like 2 months. And it's just unfortunate, man. So he's going to have to show that he can keep making these adjustments on the fly the way that he has, because it would be an even worse letdown if Mike Vrabel leaves here, goes to Tennessee, has them where we should be. They finish and go to an AFC championship or some shit like that after everything that we've said. Like, I mean, and it's not really that it's not even really that incomprehensible. You know what I'm saying? This thing, like, shit changes in a day. You know what I'm saying? So you never know. They just may go out and play a phenomenal fucking football game, and Mike Vrabel may lead them to it. And what is that going to say even more? And how more telling is that going to be to see why people really wanted Mike Vrabel like 2-3 years ago? And, like, how come fans couldn't see that when he was here? It's a shame that everybody does better once they leave the Texans. It's like we're the development team for everybody. Coaches, like, we had a coach, he left here, won a Super Bowl. He left here, had the Baltimore Ravens looking like a fucking phenomenal offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too many factors where dudes have been here to develop talent, to develop as coaches, to do this, to do that, and they go other places and win fucking Super Bowls, and it ain't fair.
Hector, who's to blame? Or who's more to blame? Bill O'Brien or Romeo Crennel at this point in the season?
I mean, Wayne's got a point with Romeo Crennel, but I mean, you gotta go with Bill O'Brien. You know, he talked about this new offense that was supposed to be this big deal with Deshaun Watson, and if that's the case, this looks like the same offense that we've seen Tom Savage run. Like, which is not that new of an offense now that we all think about it. I mean, like, you're just as much of a liar as Brian Gaine is. I mean, at this point, because I mean, like, Brian Gaine, all he was talking about how he's like, oh, we're gonna re-sign Clowney, oh, we're gonna try to bring in players to make this team better and all this bull crap. And like, Bill O'Brien is just as bad as Brian Gaine. And I mean, like, when you say new offense, you would think a new offense, and that's not even the case.
What he meant was renewed offense. So he went back out to old shit and just, and you got to renew your subscription to that old shit. Goddamn. Man, here's the deal. Legend has it that right now, Voodoo Child is whooping Wise in the fantasy football league. He said Goff is putting points up on you. I don't know. That's what the rumor has it. So he say you just got all them more early ass playing ass players. Nigga, them niggas gonna be hurt before his players even get to play. But here's the deal, man. Wise, at this point, who do you put the blame on, man? Who's the bigger problem right now? Bill O'Brien, or as from the coordinating aspect, from the offensive coordination to the defensive coordination, who is the bigger problem with the Texans? Who's posing the legitimate issue with the Texans?
I don't even like talking about the Texans anymore. That's sad. It's really sad. Like, I have people asking me about the Texans at school. I got people asking me about Texans when I'm at work and when I'm out in public. I'll be wearing my Houston stuff and they'll ask me. I don't even like talking about it no more because with Bill O'Brien, we've been seeing the same shit. And it's sad. This guy obviously this dude lost the locker room. It's to a point where I think he really lost his locker room. Guys don't want to play for him no more. Guys ain't running through a wall for him. I seen a guy running from the Tampa Bay, ran through the fucking touchdown, ran through the stanchion to the fans, went out with a concussion. That man playing for his coach. He was in coverage. Looked better than any other corners we had on our team this season. Guys not doing their jobs. Bill O'Brien, that was the whole thing in this offseason. We're making a new offense around Deshaun Watson. We're going to revamp this offense. This offense is going to come back better than it was. This nigga's the most bullshitting, the biggest fraud in the city of Houston. I mean, it's a point where they just need to kick this man out. I don't give a fuck that he re-signed the contract extension. Like, I'm tired of hearing Bill O'Brien. I'm tired of seeing his butt chin on the fucking camera. Because when he comes to these interviews, he says the same shit. And for him to say, oh, it's not my job. Oh, it is what it is. What kind of head coach says that? It is what it is? Are you kidding me? Like, this guy's a joke. This guy's a fraud. This guy just likes to say things. He's a figurehead. I don't know if it's just Bob McNair running his team and calling the plays because obviously this guy don't know what the hell he's doing. He was one of the worst coaches in the NFL. No, he is the worst coach in the NFL. At least I know a lot of guys was talking about this dude from Cleveland. They were saying, oh, he only won one game in the last 3 years. But look at Bill O'Brien. Let's talk about Bill O'Brien. Even though he went 4-12 last season. Let's look at the Eagles. They lost a lot of guys. They still went to the Super Bowl and won. Let's look at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They didn't have their quarterback this year. Guess what? They're still winning games. All these teams, they have great depth. It's another dude, Brian Gaine. This dude, Brian Gaine, a fraud. He had the opportunity. You know, every receiver on this team got hamstring injuries. You know, every person on this receiving corps is hurt. Why don't you call Rashard Matthews? You know this guy's capable. Why don't you call Des Bryant? Why don't you go and try to get some star players? I mean, your Santrell Henderson went out with the first game. You know this guy Clemente got hurt. You think they'll get a good tackle? No, they go get a guy that's half blind. They get a guy that's half blind and bring him in to this 53-man roster. They work out safeties yesterday. You working out safeties for what reason? For what reason? You letting guys go You let go of Braxton Miller. At what cost? To keep Vincent Smith? That's trash. I haven't seen this man create separation once. So, like I said at the beginning, this is how it's going to go. Brian Gaine and Bill O'Brien, they're a two-headed monster. Both of them got to go. Both of them got to go. It's both on them. They said they was building this team together. He wanted a GM that can help him build the roster around his coaching abilities, around Deshaun Watson. Rick Smith was doing a better job. I'm really ready to see. I'd rather see Rick Smith at the GM right now than see Brian Gaine. Because what has Rick Smith really did that bad? At least he would have took an opportunity on the guy. He would have. You can't tell me that Rick Smith wouldn't have called one of these guys or worked out one of these star guys.
I would rather neither one of them. I mean, Brian Gaine came up under that Rick Smith GM tree, just like these guys come up under that Belichick tree.
I mean, I wouldn't. I'm just saying Rick Smith better than Brian Gaine.
Here's my deal.
At the end of the day, Brian Gaine ain't gonna do shit for this team.
Here's my deal. I'm gonna tell y'all what's gonna happen. So this is what's gonna happen, man. First, I'm gonna kind of have to side with Wink on that when he's talking about as far as coordinators. I'm gonna go with Cornell simply because we had big expectations about it. Like, you know, we figured B.O.B. I thought that, you know, hey, he would at least be able to recreate some of the shit he did last year with Watson, but obviously not. Cornell has the talent. I mean, the corners are a little suspect, but he has good enough corners to suffice. I think the defense is a bit more stacked. I mean, if you're just looking at 11 on 11. And they're just, I mean, and the thing is, it's not like the defense is just playing ass. I mean, but they're not producing in the manner in which we expect. I mean, the lack of turnovers is a problem. You know, the lack of plays in the backfield outside of Watt, it's a problem. You know, the rookie, and then you don't play the rookie. I mean, he's the only guy that produces for you in that, Tennessee game, and you don't play him but one play. You know, 13 plays total in the last two games. You know, Cornell has more experience in the league as a whole. So, I mean, it's something that we mentioned multiple times. Maybe, you know, maybe the game has passed him by. You know, maybe these new rules, maybe these new things that we see as not big factors, maybe they are factors. Maybe these little elements are what's fucking up. But I'm going to tell y'all, this is what's going to happen with the Texans, man. We can fire Bill O'Brien. We can get rid of Brian Gaines. You know, bring in some fresh sauce, bring in some fresh flavor. But you know what's going to happen? The exact same fucking thing is going to happen. Because even when Kubiak started to look like he was doing something, what happened? Everything went back down the shithole. You know why? Because there's one common denominator with this franchise that has not changed and will not change until some drastic things take place. And that will be the culture of this organization. We will be a fake organization that is trying to do something that somebody else is doing instead of trying to be original, trying to create our own way of playing football, trying to create our own brand of football and be unique in the way we approach the game. But instead, we try to take bits and pieces that we like of a particular organization in this conference, but we don't emulate them the entire way. We're going to do it the right way, though. We're going to take all the good things that look good, but we don't want to deal with the character situation. And so as long as we have this owner, and we can talk about Bob McNair, we can talk about Cal too, because I already told you. I mean, I've been telling y'all when that first conversation came up, we need to get rid of Bob McNair because of what he said. Well, I told you, that's the first thing I said. What makes y'all think Cal's gonna be any different? Like, his daddy just made his whole way. Like, what do you think Cal gonna do differently? Absolutely nothing. And shit, the comments he made the other day prove that. This is the Texans organization until something like you said happens where this team gets sold or somebody else picks it up. But you know when that will happen? That's when it comes down to us as fans. And that means you have to start talking with that pocketbook. You have to stop buying them tickets. You got to stop buying them jerseys. Keep rocking that old jersey that you've been having. You're going to have to stop going to games. Even if the ticket's been bought, you know, a lot of these motherfuckers have already been bought, but you start showing that stadium on TV looking empty. You know, you start seeing that lack of support. And it's not that people are mad at the players, and it's unfortunate because players will misconstrue it and feel like, oh, you know, no, they ain't supporting us and what we're going through. It's not that. It's what's over y'all that we're tired of, because what's over y'all is what's constraining y'all from being able to be what y'all, the ultimate capability that you have. And so I think that's the big problem. Like, I mean, you can come in and you can replace it. You can go get, I know folks talking about Harbaugh and Sweeney and Shaw and all these other names, but none of that shit will matter when how did Cat Williams put that, when that gnarled old finger comes out and says, hey, well, I want to make sure what the product on the field looks this particular way and looks like this, and we can't have these kind of guys. We're going to continue to have the same situation. The guys are going to come here and continue to rot away for at least a couple of years and then go on elsewhere to do great. Or they may put up some stats here and end their career or whatever else is going to be. It's not a good look. And, I mean, it's unfortunate. This is not the conversation that I want to have. I want to talk about us contending for something. But even if we came back and really started playing, I think we're still going to have problems in the long term, no matter what happens, as long as we're under this the head master McNair. I think we're going to have problems. I think it's going to be a situation with this franchise, and that's just how I look at it. And so, unacceptable. Unbearable. That's just how I see it, man.
Jeff Fisher, how he didn't want Vince Young, how Vince Young wasn't able to run his offense, and nothing was wrong with Vince Young. Vince Young still should be in his league right now. This man had the talent. Don't tell me that Vince Young didn't have the talent, because we know he had the talent. And the Texans could have drafted Vince Young with that #1 pick from H-Town. They had the opportunity, but they didn't do it because they ain't real. Look what Jeff Fisher did with Jared Goff. The guys was talking about, oh, Jared Goff is a bust and things like that. Last year, Jared Goff put up numbers. Right now, he's throwing 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and things like that. So, I mean, a coach can hold back a quarterback. He can hold back a team. He can hold back the whole roster as a head coach. And that's how I feel between Bob McNair, between Brian Gaine, between Bill O'Brien. We got too many bees in this organization. Bitch-ass niggas.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like someone mentioned, why not go out and sign Dez? Why not go out and make a play for Matthew? I mean, why not try to be as stacked as you fucking possibly can? Why not give this young quarterback all the weapons that you possibly can? And again, because it's not looking like the tackle talent is going to be there come free agency. So that means you're going to have to deal with it in the draft anyway. So you'll have the money for that. Because the only real problem that you have on this team is that offensive line. Like, I can be okay with the corners that we have. Like, I'm not going to complain. The only one who really just got really dusted up real bad was fucking Johnson. He's going to be out for a while. Everything else can operate. But, again, the problem is when you're going 3 and out on offense and the defense is having to stay on the field all game, unacceptable. You know, when Deshaun Watson can't even get the fucking ball off, unacceptable. Can't even hand that motherfucker off damn near. Unacceptable. Making everybody we play against look like Clowney in South Carolina and shit, you know? Unacceptable. I mean, we can't have that type of shit and expect to win shit. Now, this stream started off so excellent. We were talking about the Rockets. We were good. We were in a great mood. All of the good shit. Started talking about the Texans. This shit got extremely depressing. We got 1 or 2 texts on the line. I'm going to read this last one, and we're going to call it a wrap. Man, I don't even want to talk about the fucking Texans no more. Chandler says, oh yeah, he did ask about earlier about what was your favorite year with the Astros, old and the new. Man, I can't tell you. Like I said, I ain't been that super tight on the Astros like that. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't mind that when they kind of had that, what was that kind of reddish and blackish scheme with the little star. I didn't mind those jerseys. Those were cool to me. You said
all the blue and gold.
Blue and gold. The OG, I mean, the originals was the livest ones. I mean, those are, you can't top those. But
went the Colt 45.
Yeah, I mean, those are cool too. I mean, I have no problem. Astros been on point with the jerseys as far. I don't think they've had I might be wrong. Like I said, I haven't been just that in tune, but I can't say that they've had a shitty jersey run. But let's see, it says to be honest, if that Bill O'Brien will likely resign or fired, I would personally like to see Sean Ryan. Don't be surprised if he's fired by Sunday. Shout out to Chandler. My deal is this: if they do fire Bill O'Brien, it's going to be Sean Ryan, because I mean, it wouldn't make any sense to go out and really try to give that position to a coach as no one is available. And so you're going to have Sean Ryan probably be your interim head coach. I don't think Romeo Cornell wants to accept that responsibility. And then that'll give them time to evaluate Sean Ryan, because again, he's had some interest elsewhere as an offensive coordinator. So they'll probably give him a look and see if he's worthwhile. But I don't know how much of that staff would stay. But again, if he's already has that relationship with Deshaun Watson, he probably knows best at this point what Deshaun Watson is capable of. But again, even if he came out and balled out with Deshaun Watson and he just took it to another level if they fired Bill O'Brien, the Texans would probably still go out and get somebody else just because. I can't at this point. I can't expect them to do the right thing. I honestly can't. Like I have no faith left that they're going to do the right thing, make the right move, man. So that's my thought on that.
I mean, I just had Bill O'Brien to ask, put like Sean Ryan at OC.
You would think. And I see a couple of people asking, we're going to open the line. Now, we're not going to open the line. We're going to wrap it up here shortly. We've been 2 hours and some change. I got to get some things ready for the Den at 10. And if you don't know, the Den is just a uncensored opinion conference. I don't know what we're going to talk about tonight. I have no idea yet. I kind of wanted to talk about the whole Kavanaugh thing, but I'm already depressed enough talking about these fucking Texans. Look, it got me in a bad mood. So we're going to talk about something lighthearted today. So we're going to probably talk about some type of tomfoolery and shenanigans in the Den to have something to laugh at. So I'm pretty sure something. What happened?
What grinds Ed's gears?
Yeah, but we know what really grinds my gears? When the goddamn Texans don't do shit. That's what grinds my fucking gears. Another week, don't try no fucking body out. Go get some of these unnamed, anonymous ass safeties. Fucking just.
Dude, at this point, your gears are circle now.
Yeah, they stripped those motherfuckers out of there.
I had dudes arguing with me about the Texans. They backing the Texans by trying these guys out. I don't understand this.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But
how many times right after the games have we been in the chest talking about, bro? Like we know they ain't gonna do shit on Monday.
Yeah. Like
how many times have we said that? Like we've said that so many times. Just talking amongst ourselves in the background, and it's just like, bro, they show it every time. Like, the fuck are you bringing safeties in? Safeties is far from the problem. It looked like a safety about to start coming back to come play for real soon. And Andre Hale, that gives us a boost, and you know what I'm saying. So we'll see. But this team, I'm with you, bro. Like what you think, the worst that you think that can't happen will always happen.
Yeah. Man, and shout out to Voodoo for the tip. We've actually, we might talk about that because I went on a little rage about the sex doll whorehouse, but he said that apparently there's a permit issue going on with that, so we might talk about that, because the Den used to be famous for sex doll robo-hoes and BBWs used to be the thing, so we might take it back to some old school shit just to lighten up the mood, but yeah, man, I mean it's repetitive. It's like when you basically feeling like what's her name calling me now, because you know what's finna fucking happen because the Texans ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like they're trying to do it for the vibe, but they ain't gonna do it. But it's awful, man. It's unfortunate. But man, Roundtable, what y'all got to say before we get up out of here, man?
Man, just appreciate everybody who came through the stream. Shout out to anybody who shouted me out in the chat, or if you had any questions. Hopefully, we got to your questions and all that in the with the messages, and you guys called in. Appreciate everybody that called in. They gave us major love, and we trying to keep our spirits up, man. And I guess talking about the Rockets and the other winning organizations will help aid the process. And calls like that will keep us alive, man. Because hearing shit that calls like that tonight definitely picked us up. You know what I'm saying? And we need more of that. Just like we are always gonna give you everything we can to hold down the city of Houston.
Absolutely. I see folks was going in when Wiles was on his rant, on his rage. Wiles was mad.
They was going in.
They must not see my last video. I went off. Yeah. I'm tired of seeing the same shit, man. Like that's why I say go watch the Rockets. Go support the Rockets. Go support the
win this game. I do want to say a quick thing. If we win this game, then I'm gonna be crunk because it's a win. Regardless of how we win, I'm gonna be crunk from a standpoint that like this is what's gonna end up getting the ship rolling. So I want to be there before the shit started happening. And if they end up getting a groove, we want to be able to report on it and give that sauce. But then watch everybody else. Because we've been staying down like with the Texans, like the caller said, but other people like K. Adams and everybody, we made these points a couple of days ago. They jumped off the ship. Ain't nobody talking about the Texans really. When we come up and we get ready to play the Cowboys, until until we win against the Colts, and then maybe we might end up being in the situation. But I need Dallas to win this week because I don't want to go in this game. I don't want to play Dallas on a loss where they're in the same situation where it's a must win for them, because they definitely will get the win if that's the case.
Man, fuck that. I'm gonna talk shit about them hoes regardless. That's the
I am.
That would be a sad day if we lost to
We
Dallas.
just got to be realistic.
Shit,
we
it's
just
about
got to be
happen.
real, bro.
Shit, we lost to the Giants. The Giants fucking lost to Dallas, so it's a likelihood.
And they got mocked by the Cowboys.
And I hate to have, it's bad when Clarence in here feeling bad for us, man. Goddamn, shout out to Clarence, man. But Hector, man, your thoughts, man. What you got to say before we get up out of here?
Hey, man, I know that things with the Texans aren't looking that great, but hey, Rocket season is about to kick up. I'm sure there's a lot of potential with them. As long as they get my paycheck going, I'll be rooting for them. Astros, man, they're gonna start their playoff series with Cleveland next week. I mean, man, there's things to be positive in the city of Houston. Dynamo just won a championship yesterday. Not many people are talking about it, but Dynamo won a championship yesterday. So I mean, like, there's things happening in the city. Unfortunately, the football team just needs to catch up. But, I mean, there's things to be positive. You guys got to find the silver lining. So, go watch Dynamo.
Okay. And Wise, man, your thoughts, man. Take us out on a good note, Wise, man. What you got for us?
Like I said last week, I have a bad feeling this team going to be 0-4. And we're going to be coming back and talking about the same shit once again. The Texans only won twice in Indianapolis. They defense been looking better. They've been in some tough games. The Colts ain't no walkover. They ain't no easy team to beat. So I just want to say I still love the Texans. I just don't love the front office, and I don't love the owner, and I don't love the head coach. But I love the players. Because the players go out there. I'm a fan of the players. I can't say that I'm a fan of the organization right now. I'm a fan of the players. The players doing their thing. The players putting in the work. I want to just thank all of y'all for sticking through all of this abysmal bullshit that we got to put up with the Houston Texans. Y'all make sure y'all watch the Cleveland versus Astros series. Hopefully the Astros can do what that word we can't say that start with a B, and bring another championship to Houston. And shout out to the Dynamo, like Hector said. At least they're bringing some championships to Houston, man, because you won't see one from the Houston Texans pretty soon. I can promise you that.
What we going to do, since we back to the talking about all teams aspect of it, man, we're going to start talking Texans first to get that bullshit out the way so we can end these streams on a good note. Because we started off good. We talking about the Rockets. We talking about possibilities. We was talking about future. We was talking about the Astros and back-to-back 100-game seasons. We was happy for the Dynamo win. We started talking about these motherfucking Texans. And it just all the air got sucked out the room, man. So look, next time we just go look. We gonna get a text by like 5, maybe 10 minutes. Then we just go talk everything else. But here is the deal. Like why I say, man, I'm not in love with the organization right now. Not in love with the front office. I held down. I tried to justify B.O.B. as long as I possibly could. I'm a person that I try to find good reasons, good purpose in things. As much as I possibly can. I try to be as fair and balanced as I can. Can't say I'm in love with that anymore. I ain't in love with no strippers. I ain't in love with these hoes. I saw, I think Trey say I ain't in love with the jerseys. That's neither here nor there. We could definitely use an upgrade on the jerseys. But here's one thing that I do love, man. I love y'all, Sauce Nation. I appreciate y'all for holding it down, man. I appreciate all the calls come through showing love, man. Shout out to Danyala Messenger, man. Really got it wired and fired up. You know what I mean? Shout out to Mr. Killer KB, man. Shout out to Voodoo Child. Shout out to everybody that called. Shout out to everybody who showed some super saucy, super chat love, man. If I forgot you, it ain't nothing personal, man. Just a lot of thoughts going through the brain at this time. Here's the deal, man. I got to see whatever when he went on the rage. I think it was about 150 something this year, maybe between like 140, 150 something this year. And I'm gonna have to see. I'll check it out and see where it was. But man, I appreciate y'all, man, and I just want to say thank y'all for holding it down each and every evening. No matter if things are good, bad, mediocre, whatever it may be. But again, like I say, man, check out the Den. Link is I don't think it's in the description. or it's on the featured channels. I think we're gonna talk crazy in the den tonight. We got to get the mood up. It's been a while since we had just a conversation of complete foolery. So we probably gonna talk something along the lines of robo hoes and how they're gonna replace real hoes pretty soon. A matter of fact, because I just seen an article about a dude basically saying like how he love his robo hoe more than he love his own wife. So we definitely gotta talk about that shit. He says he gets along better with the robo hoe than the wife. So that tells you. I told y'all, man, start investing in robo hoe stock. I told y'all that the way motherfuckers act and all this Me Too shit that's happening, robo hoes gonna get way more play because they never say no unless somebody start programming robo hoes that say no, and then niggas gonna really be fuck out of luck. But here's the deal, man. I appreciate y'all. Den at 10. We gonna get up out of here. Y'all the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world. I just want to say thank y'all. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Most of all, slide by StaySaucy.com. Check out some of their fresh Sauce Sports merch. If you don't want to buy no Texas merch, man, shop with Sauce Sports. But with that being said, chugging up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy. We out.